And then make sure you click rec. Yeah, we're good? All right, let me get a link. I'll send it to you. If you're gonna break my heart. Yeah, the last one did sick though. Like throughout it, 1,000 people tuned in at different points to the live stream.
Really?
Yeah. Like not at once, but throughout it, 1,000 individual people, which is absolutely mental in my opinion.
One of them, some sonny twat in Tokyo watching it for an hour.
Oh, yeah.
Who could
Who were that?
You realise over there now it's just gone midnight, so I was watching it like 1:30 in the morning. Watching you.
Oh, yeah, because it was even late, because it was Saturday one as well, wasn't it? Yeah.
Silly kick-off time. I thought, I'll go, I'll watch it for a bit. Yeah. So I don't need to check out because you know it's working. Yeah.
Oh, is this in there?
Right, everyone just say hello into mic for a second.
Hello.
Hello.
Right, everyone just say hello into mic for a second. Hello. Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Send the fucking link, bro.
Send a link. Yeah, we're live on YouTube, so they can hear you as well.
We're live.
No, we're just. Well, no one's gonna be watching it right now. We're just getting the link
There'll be
about.
some weirdo out there watching.
Yeah, but
yeah.
There we go. Let me get it on the story. Yeah, it's weird because now we've actually got nearly 90 followers on the Insta, so hopefully like 2 people come over. Yeah, it don't really pick it up, or it might a little bit. I need to work out how to get like a score graphic on the stream. Yeah, but it'd make it more complicated for whoever's doing it, and when it's someone like you, it's impossible.
I'll go on strike in a minute. Come the fall.
Right. Boys, we're back again for another stream.
Back again.
Manchester United against Arsenal, arguably one of the biggest games and biggest rivalries in the Premier League, or at least I'd definitely say it's one of the bigger ones. For Josh, as a Man United fan, are Arsenal more of a rival than Man City are?
Yeah. But they're not the biggest. Liverpool are the biggest rivals.
Yeah.
I think City's growing though.
Yeah, because now they've got more and more going on.
Yeah. Like for a very long time they were just the noisy neighbours. Like, and it was a banker of a win. Like you never really kind of took it serious until obviously they started kind of growing, and now it's becoming something. But I think because of the history in the other two rivalries, I don't think it'll ever be as big as either Liverpool or Arsenal.
Yeah. As a Liverpool fan, is Man United the biggest game, or does Everton slightly beat it?
No, it's Man United. I think maybe me living in Leeds, in Yorkshire, it's definitely Man U. If I was living in Liverpool, it'd probably be Everton.
Yeah.
So I think that does have a factor, but Man United.
It's crazy how the success of both clubs has made that rivalry more important than even the like super local ones.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But onto the game today, I wanted to kick things off and come up with a Manchester United and Arsenal combined 11 of the current squads, not of all time, just of the players that are there now. And we'll boot it off at goalkeeper.
Onana.
You're lying, man. You're actually lying.
If you think Ramsdale's better than Onana, then we might as well just stop the podcast.
Stop it now.
Now, Onana so far looks like he's had a few clankers in him, doesn't look 100% trustworthy.
He's not fully settled.
And Ramsdale's been
Yeah.
doing it in the Prem for a couple of
You
seasons
say
now.
that as if Ramsdale didn't have an absolute stinker last week for
Yeah,
their
but-
first goal.
Yeah, but it's the first time he's done that in a long while. I just think Onana's not proven enough.
No, I've not seen enough of him, to be honest, but I don't.
If I was picking a Premier League goalkeeper out of those two, it'd 100% be Ramsdale right now.
At the moment, it probably would be, but he's only just settling in. Like he might have a clanger in him, but most like Ramsdale does as well. Definitely.
Onana's
Yeah.
Champions League final was a better game than Ramsdale's ever played, and that was against the treble. I mean, I know City eventually scored, but that's against treble-winning City, which is a Premier League opponent. And that game was better than anything Ramsdale's had in the Premier League in an Arsenal shirt.
I'm not saying Onana's bad though. That's the thing. I just think he's not. I've not seen enough of him in the Prem to put him in that combined 11 yet.
Yeah, but it's a combined 11 just as a team, not just what they've done in the Prem, I guess. So going off that and what Josh has said, I'd probably would go with Onana, but I'm not the biggest Ramsdale fan.
Yeah.
All right,
I'll probably go Ramsdale right now.
Well, it's 50-50, but I'll say we'll take the L on this one because there's probably ones I'm more passionate about. We'll
Yeah.
put Onana in net. Right, let's move on to right back. For me, it's easily Ben White. It is. Come on, last season when it was his first season playing at right back, he was class all year.
I'm taking Wan-Bissaka personally.
Really?
Yeah.
I would go Wan-Bissaka as well.
Yeah.
I think
I
he's
probably
just
would,
a
you
good
know.
defender. He can defend.
I'm actually shocked by this one, you know.
I love Ben White, don't get me wrong, because obviously he got promoted with us at Leeds, but I think Wan-Bissaka's improved so much, and like what he lacked attacking, like in an attacking sense before, he seems to have improved, and he's great defensively.
Yeah.
The way he can almost nullify pretty much any left winger in world football, he's a credit to him.
But I think Ben White did that last season whilst playing at right back, and I think he's a little bit better defensively as well. Like if I was having a defender in my team, I'd prefer to have him overall. I mean, I suppose it's because he's a bit more useful in other positions as well.
I think
He can
it's
play
the
as a centre
fact
back, etc.
that
But
he's not, like you said, he did really well to say he's not naturally a right back, and I think purely because he's not naturally a right back, I'd go for Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, he is one of the big reasons that we won the Carabao Cup last year. The way that he came on in the second half after Dalot had been torched for 45 minutes by Alan St-Maximin. Wan-Bissaka comes on and St-Maximin just becomes irrelevant for the rest of the game.
all right, well, I've lost that one. It's 3-1 anyway. So we've got Onana in net, Wan-Bissaka at right back. Let's go for the two centre backs.
I think this is the easiest,
I-
probably the easiest one in the whole team, Saliba and Martinez.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that.
Yeah,
I can't see how it is.
Would anyone pick Varane or be tempted to pick Varane? I know he's been
not now.
not as great at
Yeah,
Manchester
no.
United, but
Not now.
no. To be honest, that was my two as well.
Yeah.
Saliba
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Martinez. It's really easy. And then left back.
I don't know, it's tough. The United fan in me wants to say Shaw, but I think it probably should be Zinchenko.
Yeah.
I prefer Shaw. I think Shaw's better.
It's
think-
weird. I think Shaw's better, but he's too injury prone for
But
me.
he is, but Zinchenko's always got a mistake in him
Yeah.
all the time, Zinchenko. I think that's why City let him go as well, to be honest.
I'd personally go Shaw, to be completely
I think I'd
honest
lean
with
to
you.
Shaw, but I wouldn't be upset either way.
I think Zinchenko's a better footballer, like overall,
Yeah.
but maybe Shaw's a slightly better defender.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, who are we going for then? Because you've said, well, Zinchenko's probably better. You're saying Shaw.
going
You're saying
Shaw.
Shaw.
I'll say Shaw as well then.
Shit. This is right. So far, we've got majority Man United players. We've got Shaw, Martinez, and Onana in the team.
Wan-Bissaka.
Oh, and Wan-Bissaka.
Onana was
So
just what you've said to carry on with it, though. That was like level, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah,
I guess.
true. But it's more. So far, the whole defence out of the 5 players we've got, there's only one Arsenal player in there.
Sounds a bit sus nice.
This has got to change. So I was thinking, I mean, we can do it in a couple of different ways, but I was thinking like 3 centre midfielders, 2 holding or 2 central midfielders and 1 attacking midfielder. For me, Rice is just a given.
Yeah, yeah, go straight in.
Like, you've got to have Rice in there.
Go, yeah, Rice, Odegaard, and Fernandes, probably.
See,
would
I don't
have
know what.
Casemiro.
Would you have Casemiro? Would you have Partey?
I'd have Rice definitely over Casemiro if it was between
Yeah.
those two.
So personally, I would have both. I would have Rice and Casemiro, and then
and you're missing out on either Odegaard
Well,
or Fernandes. Though,
Yeah,
aren't
let's
you?
say
but then
we're
I'm
going.
taking-
We've got to pick Rice or Casemiro as the more defensive-sided midfielder because really that is what you're
Yeah.
doing it. And I would probably edge towards Rice more because I'd be afraid that Casemiro would get a red card within the game.
At this stage of his career, and that's what we're going off. We're not going off like how good he's been because he's
Mm-hmm.
been a brilliant player. But I think at this
Oh,
stage
yeah.
in his career, you would definitely have to go for Rice, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I don't think it's definite.
Well,
I mean, the way that Casemiro came in last year, everyone said 70 million, what a waste of money. And he came in, and his first few games, right, he looked suspect, but he actually changed United's whole season.
Oh, yeah, he did.
I
Made a
mean,
difference.
he scored the first goal in the Carabao Cup final. He completely changed our team, just gave us that CDM which we'd been missing for a long time. So I'll say Rice, but I don't think it's like a definite 100%.
Oh no, it's not
Rice.
100%. And I think obviously Rice, it's his first real season. I know obviously West Ham won the Conference League last year,
Yeah.
but it's Rice's first season really doing it at the top level. He's always performed for England as well, so I'd expect him to continue doing well. But I would pick him over Casemiro just. So then if we move on to the centre mid, maybe the more box to box style centre mid. I know Rice kind of plays that role a little bit as well,
I
but
think this one, if we're going this way, then this one's as simple as it comes. It's Partey. I don't think
yeah.
United have got anybody in that position that can really kind of compete with Partey, really, if I'm honest. So
And then the attacking midfielder. So you've got Odegaard, Mount, Fernandes.
Fernandes has to be in there.
Yeah, that's
Do you know? I think it's more of a. It's actually quite a big debate between Odegaard and Fernandes. Like Fernandes is so key for that Man United team, but Odegaard last season was in the team of the year. I think he was Arsenal's like second in the Player of the Year rankings, and he was, I think, the second top scorer or top scorer throughout the season. So as much as Fernandes is fantastic, Odegaard's just as fantastic in the Arsenal team.
I mean, I'm just gonna go off what one of the best football players in the world has said in Bruno Fernandes. So I mean,
Well, KDB put him at top, didn't he?
Yeah.
and he didn't even hesitate either.
No, he didn't.
No,
He
he's a
did
great
do it
player.
quite quick, and obviously, ballers no ball. So
I think it's a tough choice, me personally.
I
think
really
the thing
like
is,
Odegaard.
I do like Odegaard, but last year was his breakout year. Bruno's been doing it for years. He's been doing it since the second he came into United.
It didn't take
he
him
has
long,
just
did it?
been-
He just
No,
went straight
he's
into it.
straight
Just
away.
straight into it. He's been scoring goals. Also, I mean, he broke Frank Lampard's record for most goals in a season by a midfielder.
Yeah, fucking hell. Yeah, he is. He's a fantastic footballer, isn't he? But he's also on penalties, and Odegaard isn't.
He is now.
Well, he's done one this
Yeah.
season, but before that,
But
like
in
he got
general,
loads
yeah.
of goals last year, and none of them were from penalties, which I think is a thing to take
Yeah,
into
but
account as well.
Lampard was on penalties as well, wasn't he?
Yeah,
But
and I
in
suppose
terms of that record.
You've got to actually score the penalties anyway.
Yeah, of
so
course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you want a good penalty taker. So far in the team, what have we got? We've got Onana in net, Martinez and Saliba at centre backs, Wan-Bissaka at right back, Shaw at left back, and then we've got a midfield trio of Rice, Partey, and Bruno Fernandes. So it's time to go on to the front three, and I think this is a pretty easy one as well, personally.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll start on the right wing.
Yeah, obviously Saka.
Saka, right?
It's the easiest one.
Yeah.
Easiest
I
one.
think
on
if
there,
anyone tried to debate that, it'd be game over. Oh well, Sancho used to be good like 3 seasons ago.
Nah, it's the easiest one out of the starting 11.
Hmm. And then onto the left wing,
Rashford,
I'd go Rashford.
Rashford over Martinelli.
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Yeah,
Okay, I agree, but I'm saying, do I agree actually?
I don't think it's as straight up as
Yeah.
just like
Rashford last season was fantastic. At least for periods of the season he was, but so is Martinelli. It's tough, you know. If it's for one game, if it's just for one game that they're playing, Rashford. But if it's for the long term, you're obviously going to go Martinelli because he's a couple of years younger, and I think he has a higher ceiling potentially.
yeah. But for this, what we're doing, I'd definitely stick with Rash
Yeah.
on the left.
And then up top, I swear to God, Josh, if you say Hoyland,
I can't say Haaland because I ain't
He's,
seen
he's
him,
not kicked
so-
a ball in Premier League yet.
So, but I also, do you know what? I don't know whether I'd go Jesus. I'd be tempted to go Nketiah.
oh, really?
I'd go Jesus, I would.
I just
Yeah.
don't know with Jesus, and I've never really been 100% on him. Like when they signed him last year, Arsenal, they were like, "Yeah, you know, he's the missing piece. He's our number 9." But when he was at City, when he was starting for City, nobody said City had a striker.
Yeah, true.
Then he goes to Arsenal, and now Arsenal have got their striker. So it's a bit like
But that says a lot about what City have actually got.
I
in
know
their
it's
team, innit?
different levels, but it's like if he was, you know, that guy, then at least even if he wasn't good enough for City, which a lot of players aren't, they would have at least said, "Well, we need a number 9 because our current number 9 isn't good enough."
Yeah.
They all just said we don't have a 9.
Yeah, City didn't really sign a replacement. Well, I mean, that's the Haaland, didn't it?
They brought in Haaland.
It was more Jesus was more in that centre forward role, whereas they changed the system to fit around Haaland.
Yeah.
So it was a completely different signing. But I must admit, when I was coming up with this list, I didn't think anyone would give Eddie Nketiah a shout.
No,
He's still young, isn't he? But he could be a player, but he doesn't seem to have that X factor, does he?
he's not a striker I see leading a line for a team that wants to be challenging
No.
for a title, and
No.
he's just not. I don't think he's that guy.
Yeah.
Not yet. Anyway, I mean, he's got potential to be good, but I just don't really think he's that guy.
Well, I think that's the front three lockdown, though. I'm guessing everyone's saying Jesus. No
Um,
one's going to say Hoyland.
I'm going. Well,
I will
yeah.
next year.
No.
See for maybe for return fixture, you never know. After he's got a few games under
to
his
be,
belt.
I like Eddie. Obviously, he was at Leeds for a little while as well, and he did quite well with us. Like, I know it was tough under the Bielsa period for him because he didn't manage to start many games, but
Yeah.
he looked like a good player, and I think he's a
Yeah.
player that will continue to do well.
He's got talent definitely, and he's going to develop more. But as it stands at the moment, need to go for Jesus. Personally, I would.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. Game's about to kick off. Man United, Arsenal. Let's get a score prediction. Do you remember the last one, Josh?
Remember the last one, so tread lightly.
3-2 United.
3-2, lots
3-2.
of goals.
Oh.
I like both teams to score, but maybe not that many goals. I'm probably going to go. I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal.
Sorry, say that again. I was just making sure the stream was actually.
I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal.
Send a link.
Do think both teams are going to score. A lot of talent on the pitch, but I'm going to go for Arsenal to edge it at the Emirates. Man United struggle there.
Simon, what do you
I
think?
think there'll be goals. I think 2-2.
2-2.
That's a good
2-2.
shout, to be fair.
Yeah, so I'm on the same page. I think goals. I'm saying 3-1 to Arsenal.
Ooh. Ooh.
I think the Man United defence will let him down a little bit.
Why has Rashford not got any boots on?
He was just in his socks
What,
there,
in
wasn't
the
he?
picture?
Yeah.
Was he?
He
That's
was
an
in his
odd one.
socks.
We had this debate about Martial last week, saying do we think he's good enough for the Prem? And it's strange to me that he's still starting up top.
Yeah.
Only because Højlund's not been fit.
Regulon's
I
on the
think
bench as
give
well.
Give it a few games and Højlund will be the starting number 9.
What do you
Yeah.
think of that Reguilon signing? Just be honest. You don't have to try back him.
I think it's pointless. I don't mind him as a player. When I've seen him for Spurs, not last season, the season before, I didn't think he was awful. He's not a world beater left back, but I don't think Dalot did a terrible job last week at left back. It'll be a test for him against Saka this week.
Yeah, it's
But I
different.
do
innit?
also like the look of that Alvaro Fernandez that we've got from our academy. He looks like a good player. So you've got kind of 2 players there. I mean, the only thing with it is that it's a season-long loan, but realistically it's a short-term loan because there is a break clause in January. And I think once Shaw and Malacia are back, I think come January we'll probably just send him back to Spurs because then he'll just be, pointless to have because our left-backs will be back fit.
She were going for it.
It's a strange one for me. I know you need a left back in, but he's been consistently one of the worst ones in the league. He's one of those that Tottenham fans actually hate because he's so bad. I think I might have had a stinker at the start of the year as well because I think a few of us actually predicted Tottenham to be the flop of the season.
I didn't think they'd do this well, to be
No.
honest. I thought they would
I
struggle
think we
more.
said, like, to be a flop, you've got to have some level of expectation going into it, haven't you?
I said
true,
that
yeah.
I said I didn't even think they'd finish in like the top. I think 8. I was like, I think they'll come like 10th or
They're looking
something.
really good as well, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I know they did do a job on us, but other than United, they've not really played anybody yet either. And I mean, we've struggled at the start.
But
of the
they've been
season as well.
they've been particularly impressive.
I don't disagree; they have been good, but I'd like to see them play against an Arsenal or a City who have started the season well as well. And
Didn't we see them against Chelsea though, and they managed to pick up the win there? Was that against who did we watch Tottenham play?
Man United.
Man
Was that Man United?
Yeah, yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Well, that's
That was the only one. I mean, they played against Brentford, and you've got to think that was 2-2. Brentford are a decent team at the moment, and these are teams that they struggled against last year when they had a really bad season. So it's signs
right
of
start from
improvement.
Arsenal with Martinelli in the box.
Oh,
Oh,
dear.
yeah, could have done with a better cross there. The Emirates seems like such a cauldron nowadays for Arsenal. It seems like whenever they're at home, they have a little bit more of that edge. I remember a few games last year where they got a couple of last-minute goals,
Yeah, they
Yeah.
did, didn't they?
and it seems to do them really well playing at home.
It's just that they've been there now for, 20 years or something like that now.
Yeah.
So they've got getting that history now, aren't they?
Yeah,
Before
no,
it
no.
was just like an arena, wasn't it? And
Mhm.
it just you need those last minute winners, don't you? You need those like cup runs and stuff like that.
Exactly,
To, get the
to
history.
build that history
Yeah.
there and
Oh, yeah.
get that feeling in
Yeah.
people when they're walking in the stadium.
Definitely.
I think, from that, one of the debates for today is about Arsenal and their project and what they've done with the team. So the overall question is, to all of you, is the Arsenal project, I'm thinking mainly since Mikel Arteta joined, is it more of a project or is it a myth?
I don't know. It is a project. You can see it's got backing. I think there's been around 8 windows since he's been in charge. Transfer windows have spent near enough £600 million, which is up there with the tops in the league. So I think obviously the club are fully backing him and they see what he's trying to do, so they're investing in it.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of success, they've won the FA Cup, which is good for them. It's a good cup to win, but they've just finished in the top 4 for the first time since I think the 15-16 season. So for them, it's success, but from an outside perspective, it's just steady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a project, but this idea that it's coming from homegrown is absolute tosh.
Yeah, I mean, so I got a couple notes together on this one. Another good chance for Arsenal, sticking around the Manchester United box, but it's a goal kick. So since Arteta joined, which was only a couple seasons back, they've brought in £577 million worth of players, and they've sold 135 million. So that means over the last 4 seasons, they've spent a total of 442 million.
Yeah.
Which
It's a lot.
it's a hell of a lot. And when I was going through, so I went through some of the individual seasons, right? And since Arteta joined, the only players that are still in the squad, like senior players from when he joined, is Saka, Saliba, Martinelli, and Nketiah. I'd say they're the ones that actually play regularly. And then you've got Smith Rowe, Tierney, and Reece Nelson. So really, since
Tierney's gone, hasn't he?
is he not still there?
I thought he'd gone.
I thought he was still their
He
player
might have
technically.
gone on loan. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Potentially. But they're the only ones that are still anywhere near the squad. And it made me think, well, who have they actually got rid of in that time? So in the first season that Arteta was in charge, they spent 68 mil on Partey and Gabriel, and then they let go of, and I think this is one of the interesting parts, they got Emi Martinez, they got 20 million for him, but then Ozil for free, Mustafi for free, and Socrates for free. So they just let go of a lot of the players that were regular starters before that. The following season, they brought in Tavares for 7.5, Lokonga for 17, White for 50, Odegaard for 30, Ramsdale for 25, and Tomiyasu for 15 million. So that season, they spent 145 mil, and then the outgoings only brought in 25 million, and they let go of David Luiz for free, Aubameyang for free, Willian for free, Kolasinac for free, and then sold Willock for 25 mil. So it's like another season where all the old stars from the squad just let them go for free, effectively.
And they've got a lot of big wages off the build, didn't they?
Yeah.
All those players.
Which-
I guess that's the thing.
It's smart for them, but a few of those as well, like Aubameyang, for example, it wasn't like the contract ran out. They had to like pay him off to go.
Oh,
So
they
that
wanted, you need to get rid
so
of them, didn't they?
it's in terms of, is it a project? They're still paying a lot of these players a lot of money to leave whilst bringing in players for a lot of money at the same time. And then obviously in the most recent seasons, they've brought in Jesus for 45 million, Vieira for 30 million, Zinchenko for 30, Trossard for 22, Jorginho for 12, Havertz for 65, Timber for 38, and Rice for 105.
God, yeah.
So that homegrown idea,
Yeah.
because we were having a conversation about this the other week, and I was saying, no, Arsenal have built a lot of what they do. And then when I actually looked into it, I thought, well, admittedly, it's easy to say that because Saka's one of the best players,
Yeah.
and Martinelli's one of the best players. But apart
They
from
didn't
that,
come from the academy, you know.
well, no, I know, but they got him for like 6 million, so it's like good scouting.
They only signed him the summer before Arteta. So 2019 is when Arteta came in.
Mm-hmm.
That summer is when they signed Martinelli, and he started straight away. So it was good scouting,
Yeah.
and they got him for a good price. But to say that he's like a homegrown player, again, it's not true.
Yeah.
Because they bought him and then they started him straight away. It's similar with Saliba. Like, I thought Saliba had come through the academy, but they bought him and sent him out on loan for a few seasons, and then
And even for him, they paid like 30 million, which a couple of seasons
Yeah.
ago is a bit more than it is now.
Yeah.
What do you think, Simon? Do you think
Yeah, it's strange because last year when they were fighting City, I was definitely in the Arsenal camp because on the surface it does seem more organic, more steady progression, but those numbers, those transfer fees, they're massive. But is that just saying it's just the state of the game we're in at the moment?
think
you
so, I
have
think
to
so.
pay that money, don't
Yeah.
you?
I think-
You have to pay it.
I think they're the second team in the Premier League with a squad value of over $1 billion. Obviously, you've got City. I think Arsenal are in there, and I would guess, I don't know, that Chelsea are probably in there now.
They
With the
will
money
be
that
now.
they've,
They will be, yeah.
the money that they've spent, they're probably in that category as well. But yeah, I think they do throw the cash about massively, especially in the last few windows. I mean, this window they've just been crazy.
Again.
I think they had to go big this window because they got Champions League and they were close last year, but obviously they fell away, so they had to go big this just to push on.
Yeah, to stay in the area that they're in at the minute. And I think another aspect to this as well is, obviously we've seen how much Chelsea have spent this summer. And Josh, you were saying the other week how people don't like the Glazers, and it's because of the revenue that's brought in by Manchester United and how much they should actually be spending. So is it a case of Arsenal should actually be spending this much money because they bring in, I think they're in the top 4 for how much revenue they bring in every season. Obviously the Emirates has been practically paid off now. They've been in the stadium for years and years, so they can start seeing more money for that. So is it just natural progression?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't have an issue with the money that they've spent. What I have an issue with is Arsenal fans trying to kind of pretend as if that money's not being thrown around. Like, as a United fan, like, we throw money about every summer without fail, and I'll never hide away from the fact that, yeah, we do that and we do spend a lot of money. But, for a long time, Arsenal have kind of tried to sweep it under the rug and be like, point the fingers at us and at Chelsea and at City and go, oh, look at them, they spend all the money and we don't. But then actually now everyone's kind of finding out, hang on a minute, actually you lot do throw the cash about just as much as anybody else.
Yeah, I completely agree. In the last few seasons, I don't think that it is particularly a project anymore. If you'd have asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said, oh yeah, it definitely is. Look at all these players they've brought in. No.
I think it is a project. So, I don't know, it's different. It is a project because obviously when Arteta came in, similar to when Ten Hag came into United, Arsenal were a shambles.
Yeah.
So there is a project there that they've had to rebuild. but it's obviously not like a homegrown driven. But I don't think we're going to see that anymore.
No,
personally,
I think
the
Yeah,
years of the class of
definitely.
'92 at United, for example, it's just long gone. Is that you'll have you look at United, you've got your Rashford, and that's really it. And then you look at Arsenal, and you've got Saka.
Yeah,
I
you'll have
think
like one or
you'll
two
have
at
one or
most.
two that are big stars. You look at Liverpool with Trent. But after that, I think you'll have your big star come through the academy. But then after that, it'll just be players brought in and money spent again.
How do you feel about that? Do you think that that's a little bit sad?
Oh yeah, oh definitely. I mean, you think back in the day when, what was it, Celtic won the European Cup with all their players born 10 miles from a stadium, something ridiculous like that.
Is that like
That's-
all the team?
Yeah.
Wow,
The starting
I didn't know
11
that.
was all born within 10 miles of Celtic Park, something, whatever it is, something like that. But yeah, it's just sad. It is, like I say, the class of '92. Even Liverpool, we had good youth, like a good spine of youth and things like that. It just doesn't happen anymore, does it? It's sad.
Yeah.
It's too much of a business now in
Yeah.
football to just be able to look globally and just dip your hand into your pocket and bring all these different players in. I mean, and you've got an academy, obviously, but if people aren't up to scratch, you can just look elsewhere and bring somebody in for a fee and get them performing straight away.
I think the other issue as well is that there seems to be a shift now where you also don't see these managers stay for a long time. So actually, the likes of, say, Fergie and Wenger, they kind of felt a lot more secure in their job, where they thought, I can give these young players more of a chance because I'm not going to lose my job if I have a little bit of a wobbly season this season. Whereas, say for example, Arsenal come fourth this season, or they drop out of Champions League and come fifth. Every Arsenal fan's going to be calling for Arteta to be sacked, and there's going to be genuine conversation about it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas, if that had happened in days gone by, where Wenger was coming, he was dropping fifth, sixth. It took a long time for the Wenger out to actually kind of happen. So I think that's also plays a part, because there is a lot more pressure on managers nowadays to get the job done the second they walk through the door. So unless they've got an academy player that's almost polished or pretty much there, you're almost not going to see them. It's like United. We recently sold a right back, Mark Gerardo. We sold him back to La Liga team. I can't remember where we sold him. And a lot of United fans are a bit disappointed about it. But we've got Dalot, we've got Wan-Bissaka, and if he's not ready to push those guys now, why not kind of cash in, get a little bit of money, and just see if we can make, you know what I mean? Why keep him? And that's the problem now, is that we don't have the time to develop these players like we used to.
Yeah, I think a prime example of that for me is just how Chelsea have done business in the last decade. Like, you've seen so many Chelsea players where they've left the academy. Like, they had De Bruyne at one point, didn't they? When he was younger, they had Lukaku, Salah. They've had so many good players that they've let leave, and then some of them, like Lukaku, for example, they even signed him back at one point.
Yeah,
How much did they pay? Like 80 million or something ridiculous.
Something
think it was,
that.
Yeah, and he must be classed as one of the biggest striker flops in Premier League history now.
He's had so many different clubs as well. It says it all really, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it does.
Well, he did okay at United at first, didn't he? And then just dropped off massively. But at Chelsea, he never picked up.
He did all right at Everton. He had a couple of seasons at
Yeah,
Everton.
well,
where he
that's
did
Everton
what-
quite
and West
well.
Brom
Yeah,
did
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But when he first signed back for Chelsea, I think I remember it was Chelsea against Arsenal at the Emirates, and I think he scored 2 when he just come back. And all
Yeah.
Chelsea fans, what they were missing was a striker. And then he signs, and it looks like, here we go. It looks like he's finally going to hit the ground running and become the striker that we all kind of knew that he could be.
Yeah.
And then it just ends up falling off, like it has ultimately at every other club that he's been at.
It's mad as well, because what he did to, where was he last season? Was it Inter?
Was it Inter?
Was
Yeah.
it Inter or AC? Inter?
It was Inter.
And he
yeah.
did that interview afterwards, and like he'd said to Inter that he was only going to stay there, and then he did that interview. Well, I'm not sure
I know,
actually.
yeah, it's
He
dodgy.
really played himself, and now he's ended up at Roma. Arsenal, Havertz.
What?
God, what happened there?
Havertz completely miskicked the ball there when he was, practically an open net.
Let's have a look at this.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, a poor
Oh.
clearance from Manchester United there, but Havertz 100% should have done better with that chance.
What's that, 65 million?
Literally completely miskicks the
Looks
ball.
like he was laying it on there for the assist.
Good defending from Martinez.
Nketiah wasn't far off it as well, but it's ended in an Arsenal corner.
Yeah, early stages, it looks relatively balanced, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's been an interesting start. I feel like the more time I've looked up, Arsenal have been on the
Yeah.
attack. I haven't seen United do too much so far, but obviously we're only 13 minutes in. See if Arsenal do anything with this corner.
It's not the greatest
Awful
delivery,
corner.
that, is it? That's like watching a Leeds game, not being first man from a corner.
Yeah, that's really poor. But yeah, back onto what I was saying about Chelsea. I feel like I got distracted for a second. They've spent so much this summer, but I remember a couple seasons back, Chelsea had, I think it was the most players on loan at other teams in the world out of any other club. Like they literally had like 30 players on loan. If you looked in practically any championship team, there was always a Chelsea player. Had like Lewis Baker, Jamal Blackman. Try to think of some other ones. Obviously, you had
Like Loftus-Cheek. People
yeah,
like
Loftus-Cheek. Who's the one that's just joined Luton?
Barkley.
He floated about a few different teams.
And he been sold on now.
He was an Everton lad.
Is that Ross Barkley?
No, but he was
at Everton and Chelsea bought him.
Is it?
but
I just
Chelsea-
remember him being on loan at Leeds, so I thought he was originally at Chelsea.
No, he was at Everton.
No, he's a Scouser.
Oh, well, how wrong I was. But yeah, Chelsea had so many different players floating about and so many that you thought could do well. Like Hudson-Odoi is another example. He's just gone to Forest, I believe.
Yeah.
But he was meant to be the next big thing at one point.
Bayern Munich were after him, weren't they, a couple of summers ago?
There was
but-
interest
yeah.
on
A
the.
lot of money for him as well.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like 50 to 60
Something
million
like
or
that,
something?
yeah.
And now he just got sold for what, 3.5 mil? And Chelsea have just not tried to develop these players at all. The only one I can think of that they've really done it with is Mount, who's now left anyway.
Yeah,
and then probably Conor Gallagher.
Reece
Reece
James
James.
as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
Reece
I
James.
think Reece James played more games for Wigan in his career than he has for Chelsea, though. So
Yeah.
does it
Yeah,
really
but
count?
that's injury more than Chelsea.
Oh, no,
if
I
he was,
know.
if he was fit, he'd be playing every week for Chelsea.
Yeah, well, they're giving the armbands.
They do also have Colwill now as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a promising young one.
Yeah, he's good.
I think that's why you see a lot of these players leave with buyback clauses on. Chelsea are the kings of it, and United have started picking up on doing it now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of the big teams are going to be doing that. So you avoid the Lukaku or even Pogba situation where you let an academy player leave, they become, Pogba or Lukaku, and then you're paying, hand over fist to get them back. I mean, the whole Pogba thing at United was just terribly handled, and we could go on all day about how shite we were with that. But to let him go for free twice is just fucking
It's bad, isn't it?
How much did you pay for him to buy him back?
That 80 million.
just short
wasn't
on that. 80 to
80,
90
wasn't
mil.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's truly ridiculous, isn't it?
it? Gone for free twice.
I mean, the thing is, like, he was worth the money at the time, and I wasn't upset about the money we spent on him.
No.
What killed it was the way that we just didn't build around him. We bought him in, and he was supposed to be the centrepiece of Manchester United for the next 10 years, and everything is built around Pogba, but it just never was. We never put the right players around him. And
Who bought him? Was it Mourinho?
Was it Van Gaal?
I think it might have been Van Gaal.
I feel like he was there when Mourinho joined already.
Yeah, he was.
Pogba's one of those really interesting players for me. He was one where you always saw that glimmer of skill,
Yeah.
but he never consistently did it.
Yeah.
It's like he'd have a couple of good games and then either disappear or be injured for a while.
It's like the other season when he got a hat trick of assists against Leeds, and everyone's saying, I think he got 4 actually. Everybody's saying he could break the assist record this season, and I don't think he got one for like quite a substantial amount of games after that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird one. Like, I don't know. Like when Pogba was at his best was that first stint at Juve, and he had the midfielders around. I mean, he had Pirlo next to him, who's helping him develop, but also took a lot of pressure on him off him. Like Pogba was just, I don't know. He's a difficult player, but we never put the midfield around him in order for him to really become who he should have been at 85 million. And I think as well, the other issue was he was like the first big Premier League transfer. I mean, now we're seeing a lot more, Caicedo and Rice and Enzo Fernandez, but he was kind of the first big one.
Yeah, big
So
money.
the media just completely went for him. Every game he didn't score an assist. It was, he's a waste of money. And you kind of go, well, there's no player on the planet that gets a goal or assist every single game. But because he was the first kind of 80+ million transfer, it was just... I mean, Graham Souness just went for him every time he was on
He
the
had
TV.
a proper agenda against
It
him.
was just
didn't he?
mental, like...
Graham Souness is gone now, hasn't he? But he was an angry man.
He was.
He'd chat shit.
Every
Great
time.
player, but not the best pundit.
No.
He used to come out with some suspect things. Simon, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
So we saw the biggest bid in world football this week was, I can't remember which team it was, but a Saudi Arabian team coming in with, I think it went up to 200 million at one point,
I
didn't
think,
it?
there was rumours that they were going to go up or they will go up to it. But I think from a Liverpool point of view, I just think it's all a PR spin at the moment.
Right.
Because if they really wanted him, they would have bid earlier on in the summer. We've made it abundantly clear that we don't want to sell him. So I just think it's the Saudi Arabian League or that club just trying to make noise so they remain relevant in the news and on Sky Sports News, all that kind of stuff. So I just think it's nonsense, quite frankly.
Yeah, would you have taken it though? If it, let's say,
200, yes.
If it was a 200
yeah.
million pound bid, even on the last day of the transfer window,
Yeah,
would you have still
Yeah,
accepted that?
I mean, personally, I think he will go next season. I think in the summer.
How long's left on his contract,
He's
Salah?
He's got 2 years left.
Okay.
I think he's got this season, then 2 years. I think.
So you'll still get a good fee
Yeah,
for him then.
So
It's not-
I think he will go next summer, probably for about 150. I'd take that next summer.
For a 31-year-old.
Yeah, I would. 200, I would have taken it, but there would have been a lot of backlash, I think. But
There's still a chance it can go because I
Yeah,
think
it's
the Saudi league window doesn't end
it's
until
on
the
Thursday.
7th,
Yeah,
I think.
it's
Wow.
Thursday, isn't it?
So they actually have a bit longer.
Yeah.
I
Still a
don't know.
while.
I think even that 150, personally, I would have taken it. I mean, the thing is, right, Salah or no Salah, Liverpool aren't going to win the league. They're not in the Champions League, so they're not going to win that. So, yes, they could maybe get top 4 and push for a few domestic trophies and this, that and the other, but they're not going to win the big 2 trophies this year, Salah or no Salah. 150 million, start of the window or end of the window, you're not finding a Salah replacement unless you go and give Arsenal 120, 130 million and take Saka. And even then, the numbers aren't the same. As great as Saka is, he's not putting up the same amount of goals that Salah is.
Not 30 goals a season.
So I think, personally I would have taken the 150 and just gone, right, okay, this season it's going to be what it's going to be. We'll try our best. We'll get what we can get. We've got 150 million. We can maybe pick somebody up in January. If not, next summer we can go out and spend a shitload of money. And, because they've obviously, because it's not just 150 million, they've obviously got another 100 million somewhere that they threw at Brighton for Caicedo.
Oh, yeah.
So they've got, near 300 million there that they can go out and build what they need to build with. So
The recruitment's been good over the past couple of years as well, I think. So
Wait, what do you think? Because Josh was saying there effectively that Liverpool won't be challenging for the league this year, and obviously you're in the other competition. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I don't think we're good enough to win the league. I think even though we've had a decent window, there's still the 2 major positions that we need to fill, which is another centre-back and a defensive midfielder. I know we've got Gravenberch, who's more of a box-to-box kind of player. He's a good player, but he's not a number 6, and that's what we need desperately. So I think without those 2 in, we definitely won't be winning the league. I think we'll finish the top 4, and I think we'll go far in the Europa League as well, which would be a decent season, but we definitely need to get a defensive midfielder in.
Yeah, you see, I'd predicted Liverpool to come second at the start of this year. I thought with the squad they have, they should do really well, but I guess the question is, like, they've effectively got a whole new midfield, so how quickly will that midfield bed together and start performing? Because I think we can all see, like, Szoboszlai's a great player.
He's got a good goal today. Good goal, yeah.
So I'm expecting him to do really well. I don't know too much about Is it Gravenberch?
Gravenberch. Apparently, we wanted him a couple of years ago when we were going for like Bellingham and then Tchouaméni. I think he was the third option, but we didn't sign any of them for some strange
we
reason.
were looking at him as well.
Yeah. He's young. He's 21, so he's still, and he kind of stalled at Bayern Munich as well. So I think he just needs a run of games. But again, he's more of an 8, like a number 8, and we've got Szoboszlai and McAllister there. So it's just.
I think with
strange.
Liverpool, it's the same question that we have about Arsenal. Is that they've got these players in, but like, how does it all fit together? Who plays where? Like their only defensive midfielder is that Endo,
yeah.
who nobody even knew who he was until they signed him. So now that's pretty much like you either go, right, okay, we're going to try and rely heavily on a defence that last season wasn't as good as it should have been, and the start of this season has looked suspect, and not have a CDM, and we play Szoboszlai, McAllister and Gravenberch and just hope to try and outscore everyone.
Yeah.
Or you start Endo, and then you're like, well, who's the other 2 midfielders? Do you start Szoboszlai and McAllister? You start Gravenberch and... I'd say out of everyone there, Szoboszlai is the guaranteed starter. I think he starts every game. He's the banker to start. It's kind of how everybody else fits in around him. But I guess you have the same sort of questions with Liverpool's attack as well, where every week you don't really know who that front three is going to be. Fair enough, Salah's there at the moment. He's your staple on. He's your front three. It's like, who's going to be the other 2? Who's going to be starting left wing and who's going to be up front? Like, so I don't know.
I think definitely at top. I think it's definitely Salah, and then he's got a great understanding with Núñez at the moment. I think obviously with the assists he did at Newcastle last week, and even pre-season they were banging in goals and they were just laying it off to each other. So I think definitely Salah, and then Núñez in the middle, and then probably Diaz.
Yeah, Diaz is fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, when he's fully fit,
Yeah,
he's a great player.
he's still coming back. I mean, he's scored a couple of goals already this season, but I think he's got taken off after 65 again. Maybe
Yeah.
just to.
I mean, it's a great front three that as well. do you know what
I think we've got the best attacking options probably in Europe. I think across that. Yeah, the 5 options we've got. I think it's brilliant.
Josh gave you the funniest look there.
Well, I'd 5 other players in the team. I don't know who'd be better.
Josh?
Like 5 players.
I don't know about 5, but I'm taking Real Madrid with Vinny and Rodrigo. Over.
I'm talking about 5 players.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options at Liverpool.
Yeah, but
I'm
there,
trying
there
to-
is, but okay, right. One of those options is Cody Gakpo, who I don't know. He hasn't looked consistent enough for me.
He's been
I mean,
playing out of position this season.
I was going to
now.
say he's not a number 9. I don't know why Jurgen Klopp thought that he was number 9 when he's got Jota and Nunes, who are number 9.
Well, he was more of a replacement for Firmino as a deep 9.
I never saw Gakpo as a 9, to be
I
honest.
thought he's always been more of a winger.
Yeah, he was a left winger for PSV, and I don't know. I would have always started Nunes or Jota in that number 9 role and let Diaz and Gakpo rotate at left wing. Diaz is a baller, to be fair. I mean, it's a very good attack, but I don't know about.
Yeah, I can't think of one better though. Like,
But I'm just like the options you've
yeah,
got.
when I'm thinking of in world football,
Yeah.
like a Bayern Munich, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, with Harry Kane.
Sane, Kane, is
Gnabry.
Gnabry. Gnabry's still firing there. Who else have they got though? What are their other like options apart from them? Is Choupo-Moting still there
Yeah, he
as their
is.
backup striker? Yeah, so you can't
bags,
really
you
say
know,
him.
He bags.
He's weird. Do you know? I thought the weirdest transfer of deadline day was Iwobi. Are people just
Oh,
money
yeah,
laundering with Iwobi or something? Because I've never seen him do well, but he's gone for over 30 million
It
twice.
was
now.
really late in the window as well, wasn't it? Like,
Is it that much?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wanted 35, 40
something
million
like that, yeah.
that Fulham paid for him, and that's after Everton paying that for him a few seasons back, and he's not really done
He's not-
much
He's
there,
not
has
done
he?
anything to warrant a move that's even that, obviously that price. Not that I've seen anyway.
Ellis, I feel like you've been a bit more concentrated on the match. Give us an update. What's going on?
I'd say from what I've seen, Arsenal look a little bit more comfortable in possession. Man United just don't look like they've got that threat in attack at the moment. I mean, it'd be interesting to see that Højlund gets on in the second half and see what he can bring. But they haven't really got an outlet up there at the moment, whereas I just think Arsenal look a little bit more dangerous on either side with Martinelli and Saka.
Martinelli and Saka are so good, are they? They're two that any team in the world would take them. I don't know if
Oh,
they'd
you'd
start
snatch-
every team, but
Yeah.
You'd snatch them up though, wouldn't you? It's just dangerous to give fullbacks a headache. But then again, with Arsenal as well, it's just I think they could do with a world class striker, and then they've really got something
Oh,
going
yeah.
on for them. Then, aren't they? Like I'd think Tony would be a good signing for them.
Yeah.
Tony would be fantastic for them. And I think
Release him.
he's said
Oh,
in
it's
an
a great
interview as well,
ball.
Rashford's on the edge of the box here for United. What's he going to do with it? Cuts inside, gets the shot away.
Oh God!
1-0 to United.
First real time I've seen United look dangerous in the game, and they scored through Marcus.
Fucking matters, son.
No, it doesn't, because they've scored the goal.
Fires away, you at.
Well, Unexpected was literally just saying how Arsenal have maybe been a little bit more on top.
That's
But
they call that the commentator's curse, mate. There they go,
That's it.
straight up. He's gone to the other end and he's put one in. It's a great finish as well, to be fair.
it's the star boy, Josh. Switch to Josh right now. It's a very different scene to last week. Let's see how it ends, though.
Some
Yeah.
fucking boy him.
It was a good pass from Ericsson to get him through there as well, but he still had an awful lot to do, didn't he?
You're still starting Ben White at right
Got
back,
shown
yeah.
down the line there.
See you later.
Yeah, that's a fantastic
Really good
finish
finish.
from
Finish
Rashford,
that.
though.
Defender should show him down the line though, away from
No,
goal.
Yeah.
don't let him come in onto his right foot, because that's where he's going every time.
Poor defending from White and Saliba there.
That's what you get when you have a centre back at right back.
Yeah. Look at that. Oh, I got a hand to it as well. Rams.
Maybe Ramsdale should have done a little bit better
Maybe.
there. It's still a great finish and great to get the shot away, but Ramsdale did get quite a good hand to it and not managed to push it away from the net. Arsenal losing 1-0 to Manchester United at the Emirates.
Oh, it's far from over this one. though. It might kick them up their asses, Arsenal, because
might-
they've had more of the possession,
Yeah.
but they might need to. Well, they know they've got to do something with it now.
Might be like we said, could be a high-scoring game.
Wow.
I mean, that's the first proper chance that. I mean, I suppose there was the Havertz chance actually that he completely
Yeah,
scuffed.
there's not really been many clear-cut ones, to be completely honest with you.
I think it needed a goal, didn't it, this game, definitely.
Give it a little bit of
yeah,
life.
yeah.
Teams can just be complacent at 0-0. They can just be trying to figure each other out. but
Arsenal on
that
the
was a goal.
attack here
See what
in
I
the
mean?
box.
Could have woken them up.
Odegaard on the edge of the box.
Oh,
it's
it's
1-0.
1-1. Oh, see that goal. It's breathed some life into this game, mate. Because Arsenal are
I said
fucking about
3-2.
now.
I said 3-2.
It's taken 3 seconds. Arsenal 1-1 now.
You're at your most vulnerable when you just score. Apparently, I don't think they were wrong when they said that.
Oh,
God, what an interesting turn of events, huh?
it took a couple minutes. Well, we all said it'll be high scoring.
Yeah.
Josh hasn't looked up from his phone. He's just, he's ignoring the world right now.
Well,
Oh, this is why we love football, from such joy to such pain.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Was there an offside potentially in the build-up? I don't think there was.
No.
Maybe here. Nah, he's clearly on, and then that last pass to a
Is that
great
Martinelli
finish from
assist?
Odegaard, though.
Yeah.
Good goal. Great goal.
Yeah.
Nice
Well,
finish.
that's livened up real quick, hasn't it?
Happy days.
We love to see it. You see, I love a high-scoring game.
Yeah, because we did think
Was that within a minute or two from when it?
Yeah,
it-
60
was
seconds
it-
at least,
yeah.
I reckon.
God. From a Manchester United perspective, it's frustrating that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's really poor. It's like switching off straight after you've
Yeah.
scored the goal. It's not on at all, really, is it?
It's like I said, I did think Arsenal looked better, but then United got that goal, and obviously gives them a kick up the arse and think, right, it's fair enough having the ball and being in and around the box, but we need to actually be a little bit more clinical in the final third to pick the right pass, and they did that really well there.
We were saying before, I'm actually really hoping that we do see Højlund come on this match, because I want to know what he's made of.
Yeah.
I know practically nothing about
I've
him.
No,
not
I
seen him
don't.
at all.
I'm telling you now, you're bag.
So, like Anthony got a goal on his debut against Arsenal last
So
season
did
as well.
Rashford.
Oh yeah, he did, didn't he?
Arsenal are in the box again. Saka puts it in, but nothing comes of it.
Tell you
Rice
what,
is now on
boys,
the
the
edge.
game has come to life.
We love to see it.
Half an hour in, 1-1.
Well, and I said it's a tough debate between Odegaard and Fernandes, and then Odegaard's grabbing a nice
It's a
goal
lovely
again.
finish, really
Yeah.
good finish.
Yeah, two fantastic finishes from both teams, to be honest.
That's what we like to see.
I'm still interested to see exactly where Rice fits into this Arsenal team. Like, is he going to be that more box to box, and is Partey going to fill in as a more defensive? Who's going to do which role?
I'd have Rice as the CDM.
Just
personally.
straight defensive CDM. I think he cleans everything
But
up so well.
I think it'll work in the sense that it did for England when we had Phillips and Rice, where everyone kind of
Yeah.
looked at it and went, well, hang on, they're very much similar
Players
players.
ventured forward a
But
bit more,
actually,
didn't he?
it allows both, because both players have the ability to either sit or drive. You can then say, right, okay, if Rice picks up the ball and drives, Partey can just sit in. And similarly, if Partey drives,
Vice versa,
Rice.
yeah.
So I think they're
Cover
just going to
each
have
other.
that fluidity of, well, if one goes, I'll stay, basically.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see it throughout the season for sure. I think Arsenal's team is so young as well. I just expect them to be up there for the next few years now. I don't expect to see a drop off at any point.
They've got something good going for him, but the thing is with football, just having youth doesn't guarantee it up for the next couple of years. Because
I
like
think
you say,
maybe it does when the youth is already this good, though.
yeah, no, I would agree, but it's just stranger things have happened. But
It's
I would
like-
agree. I would agree with you completely. You'd expect them to be up there in top four now. Do you know what I
I
mean?
think they need to keep hold of Saka, definitely. I mean, like I say, if Liverpool do get rid of Salah, I think we will go after him strong.
Do you actually think that
Yeah.
they
I
will?
don't. I don't think
Jurgen Klopp really likes him.
he'd not.
Really likes him.
he'd
But
not
I don't
leave.
think we will get him because I think he's
Saka's
an Arsenal
he's a
boy.
London boy,
Yeah,
isn't
he
he?
is, isn't
There's
he?
no chance he's going anywhere. I
Yeah.
don't think.
I think he would.
Not in the Premier League.
Liverpool would have to, because with Salah leaving, there is no other alternative for that.
Manchester United on the edge of the box there with it. I mean, it looked like it got taken off of Bruno's feet
Yeah.
there, but a corner now for Manchester United. Sorry, Josh, what were you saying?
I was just saying, like I said earlier, losing Salah, the next best thing is Bukayo Saka in world football now in terms of a right winger. So I think Liverpool would naturally go for him, but
Yeah.
I think, like we've all said, it would either take a ridiculous amount of money to get him out of Arsenal, and even then, I don't know whether he would accept the move himself, being an Arsenal boy. I think if he was, offered the opportunity to go to somewhere like Madrid, for example,
it's different.
then it's different. But to go to a Premier League, even though they're not necessarily direct rivals, but to go to another Premier League side, I think it's just something that you can't really talk about, really.
Yeah, I think especially because they're both on similar levels at the minute, it's not like Liverpool are guaranteed to do better than Arsenal at any point in the next few seasons. So for him, it's not an upgrade. It's more of like a... the only reason I could see him doing it is if he did have a good relationship with Klopp, and maybe if Klopp could tie him in a
Yeah, you
little
never
bit.
know. I mean, we've got the young Scottish lad Ben Doak, but he's only like 17, 18.
I've heard
and
quite a bit about
he
him.
did have a really good pre-season as well, but he's not ready for first team football. There,
Might
at
take
Liverpool.
a while just to integrate, I guess.
But even still, I don't know how much longer Klopp's going to be around.
I know how much longer
I
I think he
think
will be.
From a Liverpool, I just think he looks tired, and I just don't think he likes the state of the game the way it is at the moment, with all the state-run clubs and all that kind of stuff, and he does look a bit fed up at times. I think he's 2 years left, I think, on his contract, so it wouldn't surprise me if he does.
Yeah, I'd be surprised
Maybe
if
go
he
to
stuck
the
out.
German national team or just retire for good. But I just think he's a bit of a football purist, and I think he's just a bit fed up
Yeah,
with football in general. To
we
be
were
honest.
kind of saying
the
it earlier,
referees as
weren't
well.
we? I don't blame him for feeling fed up
Yeah.
at all. I completely understand what he means. I think the amount of money floating around is absolutely ridiculous at the minute. It just makes it all it's like a billionaires play game, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
quite literally.
Like I saw Rory Jennings did a video yesterday, and he was talking about how even he's not particularly impressed with how much Chelsea have just absolutely blitzed loads of money. And I thought, I mean, I was surprised to see him say that, because I think most people, when their club are spending X amount, are quite happy with it. But
Yeah, but there's X amount. So I'm happy when United go out and spend 150, 200 million. But when you're spending that level of money, then it is, because the problem is all you're doing there is putting a ridiculous amount of pressure on the team and on these players that you're bringing in. I mean, you look at like Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo, they've got 2 £100 million players in their midfield now. So every time they drop a clanger, every time they have a bad moment, I mean, the last few games that I've watched from Caicedo at Chelsea, he's looked very suspect. Now, if they're deciding for 50 million, you go, well, he's a young lad. He only really had one good season at Brighton. Fair enough. But 115 million, you expect him to come in. And yeah, he's a defensive player, so you don't expect him to come in and add goals and assists, but you expect him to come in and be, Declan Rice.
Yeah.
I mean, Declan Rice is coming to that Arsenal side at 105 million, and nobody's talked about him, which as a CDM, I think is perfect.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to be talked about.
he's just doing his job quietly and doing it well.
Because that's what you do, and
As a
it's
CDM,
not a glamorous position.
Just do your job. You do the dirty work and the stuff that kind of goes under the carpet, the unrecognised stuff. But the fans who watch the games consistently, they see that and they adore you for it. It's like how we were with Calvin, similar position. Just do all the dirty work, get stuck in, and just go about the business in the way you'd expect them to.
Yeah, 100%. But I think you could have predicted this when you saw both of those signings, in my opinion. Like Chelsea paying so much for Caicedo, even more than Arsenal paid for Rice. I would never have said that was a smart decision at any point, because Caicedo had only done it for one season. Rice has consistently done it in the Premier League and internationally for 3 or 4 seasons now. And I'm in Europe last year as well. So I think Chelsea, it's got to the point with them where people just know that they can put extra money on the price tags for everyone.
It is really well.
Yeah.
And Brighton have done well in the sense when the big clubs come sniffing around their young talent or their players that they have hold in high regard, to stand the ground and don't just accept any old fee. And especially if they know they've got the money, why not milk them for all they're worth?
Yeah, Brighton have done really well.
They've done really well.
Well, that Ferguson as well, he's probably going to go for 100, 150
Well,
in a few
they've
years.
said they weren't accepting anything less. And
Yeah, you see, I didn't know anything about him up until yesterday. Is he meant to be like the next big thing?
last season, he had a good season, really.
Right. Where was he? At Brighton again?
Yeah,
or?
yeah.
Just
Right.
before the window, United were quite heavily linked to him, but I think once we got quoted like 80, 90 million, we were like, no.
It was his first Premier League hat-trick yesterday, wasn't it?
It was his first career hat-trick.
Wow. Yeah,
He's
against
going to
Newcastle
be,
as well.
he's going to be brilliant.
Yeah.
He's going to be up there.
That second goal was unreal.
Yeah.
Is he Scottish or
Irish.
Irish?
He sounds like a Scottish name.
Yeah,
that,
Ferguson
doesn't it?
does, doesn't it? Anthony on the edge of the box for United. Pretty poor ball there. And well, to be honest, United have actually been on the front foot a little bit more since both the goals have gone in.
I'd say so, yeah.
Maybe there's still some nerves in the Arsenal players despite getting a goal back. Anthony's done really well there, beating 2 players, and then scuffs his shot.
Did so well to get through there as well.
All that for nothing.
It's really frustrating, that.
Tell you what, if Liverpool want a new right winger, we've got one for you.
There's got to be a booking, huh?
Yellow card there. Is that Dalot?
Lindelof.
Oh, Lindelof. Is Dalot injured?
No, he's
on.
playing left back.
Oh, is
Yeah.
he? Shit.
Few problems. In
I forgot Lindelof was even still at United, to be honest.
Yeah, we refused to sell him. Frankfurt really wanted him, but we refused to sell him.
Kind of a good job that you've got him, really.
I like him as a
bit of depth.
cover centre back. I really like him. Oh, fucking! I hope they don't go VAR for that.
Why, was it a bad challenge? I didn't catch it there. What do you think? It could have been a red?
In today's game, when they look at it in slow motion and zoom in on camera, then everything looks 100 times worse slowed down, doesn't it? I think yellow card's fair for me, but it was it could have been worse because there wasn't that much connection with the head, was there?
I was going to say if he'd have actually, I don't think he actually touched.
It was more of a scrape, really, if anything, like a light touch. But if he'd have gone through his head, then could have been criminal.
Yeah, a bit of a
ball,
crap
that.
free kick there into the box from Arsenal.
God.
Sorry, Dad, do us a favour. Just switch the laptop on for a sec.
Go on then.
There we go. Chance to
Oh,
break.
no, it's all good now. I think the stream went down for a minute, that's all.
Nice.
It's back up now there.
Fucking shite, man.
Just a bit behind.
United
the goal,
on the
mate.
edge of the box again here, though. Rashford with a shot.
Tell you
That's
what.
a corner. That is a corner.
I think didn't he just spoon it?
Yeah, I think he did.
I thought it took a nick.
I don't think so.
Yeah, United have. Yeah, the stream went off, but I don't know why. But it's back on now. It's probably just my internet being shit as usual. Do us a favour, Ellis. Will you grab us a Elvis juice out of there, please? Simon, if you need another drink at any point, just grab one. Or Ellis, Josh, if you want one.
I'm all right.
Thank you. Yeah, we're approaching half time here. It's been a very interesting game so far, to be honest. I've quite enjoyed it. Yeah, United Arsenal sometimes can be a bit of a it ends up just being a stalemate, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've seen a few, but in recent times, there's been some good ones. Haven't there? Like last year at the Emirates, was it 3-2?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a minute one, wasn't it? Something, wasn't it?
Blinder of a
Saka
game.
a booking?
And I think it was 2-1 in the reverse fixture last year at Old Trafford when Anthony scored in his debut. I think
Yeah,
was that 2-1
3-1.
or 3-1? It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Rashford got 2.
So this is a booking for Saka here.
Oh.
Yeah, it is. Studs up, isn't it?
And Bruno obviously
I
made a
think
meal
he's
of it.
Given Arsenal the foul. Because it was a foul on Saka.
Yeah,
But
it
then
was.
The initial foul. Baby.
The big baby. We've had that debate about Bruno already, haven't we?
I'm confused.
That was
about that.
painful though. That
Yeah.
that does.
Yeah, so it's 100% a foul.
Yeah, I think the yellow card's a bit harsh, maybe. If he's
Mm.
being fouled, then it was a bookable challenge, but if he's being fouled and the referee's then blown the whistle for a foul, and that's happened, I think that's quite a harsh booking.
It was like the thing with when McAllister got sent off. He didn't mean to do it, so it was it was a foul, but it wasn't a sending off. It was just like a coming together. So I think that's why it got rescinded. So
Yeah,
At least it did. So.
oh god, yeah.
I tell you who's had a tough start to the season so far. Newcastle.
Yeah. I don't
And
know.
it's not like they've played any Champions League games yet. So it's, the extra games haven't kicked in.
Obviously, they had that big win against Villa, but I think that maybe yesterday was a bit of a reality check for him because Brighton. Look, Brighton, every time I've watched them play, they just look shit hot.
They're so good,
Yeah.
aren't they?
It's
So good.
unbelievable.
In fairness to them, yesterday, Botman was out. Who was there? You know, you look at that defensive line, and you know, you had Trippier at right back, who's been good. Then Shah, who's looked decent against Botman, but I didn't think he was anything special before Botman came in. Then you had Dan Burn, who he does a job.
Yeah,
and
I quite like Burn.
he's tall and he's good in the air, but I don't think he's, you know,
Mm-hmm.
he's not Botman. And then you had Matt Target at left back. So I mean, I don't know. I think the loss of
Bit
Botman's
makeshift,
gonna
right.
and he looked
It
like,
affects the whole defensive line.
and he looked like he was out for a while. The way he went off against
Yeah,
Liverpool, he looked
yeah.
like he was quite badly injured. I don't know how long he's out. So I think that could be a big factor. But they have also added a big piece in Sandro Tonali, who's played well, but they've also got to try and figure out their new midfield.
How
So-
to get it clicking together
Yeah.
and flowing well.
He was poor yesterday. that
Yeah, he
Tonali,
dropped a clanger
was.
for the was it the first
Yeah,
goal when he
just-
scuffed a
yeah,
clearance?
I expect big things from him as well. I really do. I
I
think.
don't know. Italians, they don't travel well in the Premier League.
Do you not think?
They don't. Well, I suppose you had like.
Oh, was that off the post there from
No,
Saka?
Dallo cleared it.
Oh, was it a clearance?
Was the camera in way?
Yeah, cameras in front of the telly. But yeah, Arsenal attacking again here. Saka on the
Square it.
edge of the box to Martinelli.
Oh,
corner.
Is it a corner for
Yeah.
Arsenal? Yeah.
Yeah, I just think with Italian players, I think like you've got the Zolas and the Vialis, I think strikers do well, but I think in the middle of the park, I just think it's too fast for them sometimes.
Right.
I do.
can
Yeah.
be quite casual, can't they, in terms of
Yeah.
the play styles?
I suppose when I think about the best Italian midfielders of my life, it's probably ones that have played in Serie A. When you obviously Pirlo's the first one you think of, but then even like Verratti's over in the French league, which is a very different level to the Premier League.
Yeah, it's just a different game. All the pros say
Ooh,
they
he's
come
done
over.
well.
Different pace, a lot more fast pace. I mean, it's why it's the
Back,
best
thank
league
you
in the
very
world.
much. Good referee in that.
Yeah.
I still think Newcastle will probably finish the top 4 though. I still think they will.
I don't.
Even once the Champions League games kick in.
Yeah, well, I mean, they might put all their eggs in that basket. You never know, but I still think they'll be up there.
They might not
I
even get
don't-
out the groups, and
I don't
that's
think
over before
they're-
Christmas, isn't it?
I don't think they're better than City. I don't think they're better than Arsenal. I don't think they're better than United. I don't think they're better than Liverpool. And I don't think they're better than Chelsea.
Do you think they're better than Brighton and
But they
Villa?
weren't last year either, and they're still finished in the top 4.
Yeah, but Liverpool and Chelsea had shite seasons.
That's
Yeah,
a good
they were.
point.
Especially Chelsea was shockingly
And
bad.
you don't expect Chelsea to come 12th again.
I don't know.
I mean, they've
So
not.
when they started.
I think Chelsea, it's a weird one. They've spent all this money, so everyone expects them to do well, but they're still really in a transition period in terms of actually getting those players to play together.
doesn't
Just
just
because they've
work
got
like
them
that, innit?
doesn't
Yeah.
mean that it's going to click instantly.
No, not at all.
They do have They also do have a lot of players out injured, and I think because they've brought in so many players, we kind of forget that. But they have got a good few players that are out with injuries at the moment as well. You look at like Fofana, Reece James, Nkunku, who was supposed to come in and be really good. So
No one up with him. There's nobody up there with him, was there?
So I think Chelsea will probably
Free
get
kick.
top 6. I can't see them getting top 4. I think it'll be us, City, Liverpool, and Arsenal.
For some reason, I feel like Brighton are going to be in the conversation come the end of the season.
yeah.
I know they're in Europe as well, but I just think that every time, like you said, Ellis, every time I see them play, I think, fucking hell, like
Yeah.
every top 4 team's going to be afraid to play them, which is a strange situation
It is, isn't it?
for Brighton.
Yeah.
Because you always think teams like that, it's a bit too far for them, and now they'll kind of, the bubble will burst, but they just keep doing it, don't
Yeah.
they? And they play so well. It's not like, it's kitchen sink, last minute winners, they dominate games.
And I think it's
They do.
also because there won't be any pressure from their fan base at all.
They're just happy to be up there, aren't they?
Chelsea fans are thinking, right, we need to do it this season. We need to do way better than we did last year. Liverpool fans are thinking we need to be in the top 4 this year. We need to do this. Brighton fans are thinking, as if we're here.
This is brilliant.
So it's just like we need to continue the run that we're on, and then we should be good.
I mean, the thing I think with Chelsea, though, is that once those European games do kick in, they're going to see the benefits of it because they're not playing Europe. And, I don't know. I just think, don't get me wrong, I really like the look of Brighton. They are a quality side. I just think that Europe is going to be a different beast for them, especially, the Europa League as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of good teams
The
in there.
Champions League is tough, but the Europa League's tougher because there's just a lot more games in the Europa League to play, and you play on a Thursday. So if you're playing kind of Thursday and then
And
you're playing
Saturday,
Saturday,
yeah.
it's a tough.
It makes a big
ask.
difference, that, doesn't it, the Thursday night?
I mean, it's tough for the big. I mean, it was tough for like United last season, and you'd like to say that United probably have a bit better squad depth than Brighton. So I think it is going to be tough for them to adapt to that European kind of football.
It'd be interesting to see, though, because I like seeing like new teams in Europe, to be honest.
But I think they'll still challenge for those European spaces. I think they'll still be in around 5, 6, 7. They'll
Similar
still
to last year.
they'll still
maybe.
be in that pot. But I think top 4 is a different beast. I still think at the moment it's the top 6 competing for that. In your City, United, Liverpool, Spurs, Arsenal, Chelsea.
Yeah, I just think they'll be around there.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is Chelsea's year yet. I think that it will come good with the signings they've made, but it's quite a big risk.
I think they'll end up back in Europe again, but I don't think they'll end up in the Champions
Saka on the
League.
edge of the box.
Oh, Saka on the edge of the box with a shot leading to another Arsenal corner, but Onana was flying through the air then.
Just a quick one. Have they gone back on? Do you know, like right at the start of the season, they made a point about the additional time.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
happened with that?
3 minutes yesterday for our game, just 4 minutes at the end. It just seems like
I think I saw something on Twitter saying there's been another rule change, but they've just not really communicated it very well,
because
which
it just looks
wouldn't
like
surprise
as
me.
normal, really.
But I think there does seem to be a lot less time wasting because there's
That rule's come
threat.
in.
There's that threat of bookings. So
Yeah,
I
there's
think
probably that
players
as
are
well.
actually time wasting a lot less. So, at the start of the season, those first few games, you were seeing those big minutes, but you were also seeing 5 or 6 yellow cards dished out because of time wasting, whereas you don't seem to see that as much now.
People
That's
are-
probably the intention.
People
I
have
guess, yeah.
realised, haven't they? So they're just not going to do it as
Although
much.
I do think that the way that they're reffing games now is fucking
It's
ridiculous.
terrible. The refereeing in this
I mean,
is
I
terrible.
can't remember who
Terrible.
it was, but the last few weeks, there's been a few players that have been booked by referees for calling for a booking. I'm
Yeah,
sure
I've seen
McAllister
that.
got it in the
I
Newcastle
think,
game, actually.
yeah, I think even
And
one of the Newcastle players got
I
it
just
as well.
find that absolutely bonkers. Fair, I believe with the dissent one because there has been a few times in games where you literally see, players absolutely screaming at referees,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you think, yeah, that can't happen. You do need to have that level of respect, but to do that to a referee, I mean,
It's probably natural as well once you've been playing football for this long.
it's part of the game to kind of be, oh, come on, ref, like,
Yeah.
and you know, McAllister was sat on the floor doing it. He just went like that, and you kind of just think,
It's no worse
Really?
than come on, ref, book him.
If you think the other team's getting away with one, like, I think you're allowed to state your opinion, really,
especially
without
when
being
it
booked
was,
for it.
I mean, it was a blatant foul as well. McAllister was on the break, and I think he was just chopped down, which happens a lot in football anyway. So it was an obvious yellow card anyway. But then for him to just be like that, and for McAllister to then get the booking, I just think,
Yeah.
and it happened yesterday as well. I think I can't remember the game, but somebody got booked for calling for the booking.
I think they need to make the rules more clear as well. As you said, with the added time thing, no one really knows where they stand at the minute, or what's really going to happen. And it seems to me, at least in the games that I've watched, it doesn't matter if players still take ages to take a throw in. They're just going to add it on at the end. But instead of doing that, I'd rather see those players, like the ref, actually give them a warning, and if they do it a few times, give them a booking, because then it'll change the behaviour. Whereas just adding time on at the end, probably because they can just waste time in the added time as well.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make a huge difference. But it's half time now in the Manchester United Arsenal game. Really, there was just a couple minute spell, wasn't there, where both teams grabbed a goal. Arsenal had a pretty good end to the half with a few corners in a row. But what are you thinking so far, Josh?
I'm all right with it. I think we've looked decent in spells. I'd say this is probably the best we've looked all season.
Yeah, I'd agree with
If
that.
I'm honest, I think we look good. The goal was unfortunate to concede. It was a good goal for Arsenal, but I think it's been typical United over the last few years for us to kind of go ahead in a big game and go, right, okay, here we are. And then fucking a minute later we're conceding. You just
An
go,
actual
come on, let's
physical
just
60 seconds later.
Literally 60 seconds.
let's just sit down, calm down for a little bit, and at least take advantage of this, because I think you do that, and then you're beating Arsenal 1-0 at the Emirates. They start to panic a little. I mean, I know there's a lot of football left to play, but because they are a young side, a lot
Crowd
of
will start to get on them.
whereas just letting them back into the game that easy, it's just like it's almost no point scoring.
Yeah,
it's
criminal.
frustrating, isn't
It's
it?
criminal. Well, big half-time debate for us here, boys. And I think I know you're going to be passionate about this one, but I'm going with a half-time debate is, are Manchester United still the biggest club in the world?
I don't think they ever were the biggest club in the world.
Do you not?
I think they were.
Madrid.
I think they were at one point when you had Ronaldo and they were winning the league every season and they won the Champions League. And
Yeah, but I just think in terms of,
so you're saying they were never the biggest club?
I just think Real Madrid are the biggest club in the world.
I think they are now. I think it's always been between those two.
Yeah, well, I'd agree with that.
Yeah. But I think Man United aren't the biggest club in the world now. I think it is Real Madrid. But I think the 90s, like late 90s, 2000s, I think Man United were the biggest.
What are you saying, Josh?
That Champions League, 99, that.
Well, yeah, because Real Madrid have won 4 Champions Leagues in a row since Man United were last on
Yeah.
top of the game. So obviously they've then
I actually think United are third.
third.
I think it goes Madrid, Barca, and then us.
Right.
I think, I don't know, it'd be interesting to see, because Barca are a little bit like us, where I know they won the league was it last year they won the league? Yeah, but they're still not quite Barca of old. But I think Barca dominated for so long that I think they have now taken that. I think it's Madrid, Barca, and then it's us.
So
personally.
I got a few facts together on this one, and one thing that I found really interesting is a team that no one's mentioned yet is Bayern Munich,
Yeah.
who are obviously the biggest team in Germany by far. But in 2021, which is like the last available reliable data, Manchester United finished 4th in shirt sales in the world, which I would class as a pretty big indicator as to who's the biggest club. So it went Bayern Munich were first
Oh, wow.
with over 3 million. Then it was Real Madrid. Then it was Liverpool. Then it was Manchester United. So I honestly, when I was researching this, I really thought Man United would be top. For some reason, I just thought that they'd have the most shirt sales because the Premier League
I wouldn't
markets
have
itself.
guessed Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
Yeah, which shirt sales were they selling then? Bayern Munich, who was that?
What do you mean?
In
Like
terms of
only a
players.
certain player who?
Oh no, I don't know. That's
Lewandowski
just
or
like
something, maybe,
overall
yeah.
shirts. Yeah. I suppose in 2021 they still had Lewandowski and a few more star players, but maybe it's just German fans are more passionate.
Because
Well, like the
Liverpool,
teams-
you could say, oh, Salah would have sold most of the shirts, I would assume so. But
Yeah, and I would also assume that maybe because like German football is really big, and the countries around Germany might not have as many good, like Poland, etc., might not have as many good football teams. Whereas Belgium. Yeah. Whereas in England, for example, most people who are in Wales will probably still support Swansea or Cardiff, and they'd never think about buying a Man United or Liverpool shirt. So that probably amplifies Bayern Munich a little bit. But I found that really interesting. And then I looked into club revenues as well, because I think that's a pretty big indicator, because it's not just about shirts, it's like tickets, merchandise, everything overall. And I was really surprised to see Man City are first. So Man City generated 621 million, and then Real Madrid was second with 604 million. So that's the second, that Real Madrid are second again. Liverpool are third again with 595 million, and Manchester United are fourth again with 583.
What year was that from?
2021, 2022.
Is there an asterisk next to the City one though? Because aren't they? There's all this stuff hanging over. They've been like moving accounts and all that kind of stuff. Something like allegedly.
But revenue also does take into account cash winnings, prize money. So they will have got a lot of money from winning the league. So that comes into. I mean, I don't disagree. I think United have slipped a little bit in terms of all of that. I mean, like the shirt sales, for example, like you said with Salah, and I think with somebody like Salah, especially like with him being such a prominent Muslim player, I think his shirt will sell massively in, Saudi Arabia, in Qatar, in all of these, in Egypt, in all of these countries because of his, like his belief and everything like that. So I think that contributes to it. And like you say, Bayern, they're the big club in Germany. I know German fans are actually very passionate about their teams, but and I mean, as well, I think there's been a shift recently in, say, UK fashion, where there's a lot of people now wearing football shirts that aren't necessarily their team. So I think these teams that have nice shirts, like Bayern Munich, have always had nice. Yeah,
Dortmund as well. Dortmund were in the top 10 somewhere.
So I think that's starting to play a factor as well in it, where, you kind of like 5-10 years ago, you'd only really buy a top from your team. Nowadays, you've got
people buy retro tops and stuff like that. Like people collect retro kits.
And even at first podcast, I had my Barca top on, so that. So it's all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I had one more stat to give you as well. So this is on the club market values on Transfer Market. So this is just like what the overall squad's worth, because I thought that's a decent indicator as well. Unsurprisingly, I just looked at the Premier League here. City were top, and then Arsenal second, Chelsea a third, and Man United a fourth yet again. So for me, I know that obviously that doesn't really indicate the size of the club. It more indicates how much the owners are spending. But the fact that Man United were fourth on all of those, I was like, yeah, maybe. It's weird though, because when I was growing up, I fully believed, because I suppose you had Ronaldo and all those star players, obviously had Rooney, Tevez, loads of different players coming in and out of the squad that were all huge names around the world. It's made me think Man United are really missing that at the minute. I know you've got Bruno, who's been fantastic for years, and Rashford's really big. But is Rashford as big around the world? Is it just because he's English and because he does so much good work in England?
I think to other footballers, he is. So I saw an interview, for example, with Alex Balde, the left back from Barcelona, and somebody asked him, if you could have any English player to play for Spain, who would it be? And he said Rashford. So I think the appreciation of Rashford from in the football community in terms of players and managers, I mean, like Xavi, for example, has spoken very highly of Rashford a few times, but I don't think he's massive. But I think actually, from a football standpoint, I'm actually quite happy we don't have that, because I think in recent years we've tried to have that. We've pushed for it too much, where we've just kind of thrown money at players to sign big names, where you've got your Di Marias, your Pogbas, we bought Ronaldo back.
Even Ibrahimovic for a season or two,
Cavani, you've got all of these players, and I think, Ibra, I think, did well for us in the few years that he was with us, and it was a shame Cavani was as injured as he was, because again, I think
he had a lot about him, didn't he?
He would have done very well for us, but I think in recent years we've tried to do that, and I think we've even done that a little bit with like Varane and Casemiro. And Casemiro's paid off, and Varane somewhat, I'm still on the fence about that, really. But I think in recent years we've tried too hard to kind of just sign a big name, whereas now you look at the squad and you go, well, who's the superstar? Well, probably Rashford and Bruno, but they're not, If you were to look on the world stage, left wingers, you're right, you've got Vinny Jr., and then 10s, you've got, De Bruyne. So I'm quite happy at the moment, the fact that we don't have the biggest name in football, because actually I think the way we're building and the place that we're at football-wise, we don't need a big star.
Yeah, I feel you. What do you feel like, Simon? Because growing up, Liverpool were always in a much lesser position than Man United. Throughout my life, like in football, Liverpool were pretty crap for a while, actually.
Oh, yeah.
There was the Torres bit where Torres was obviously a fantastic player, but then there was a period after him leading up to the last few years where it was really poor.
Oh, the Roy Hodgson years.
Yeah, it was when you had Andy Carroll playing up front, players like that. How do you feel about, because it's Liverpool have caught back up again.
Yeah.
Where do you think Man United sit in the rankings now?
I still think the two biggest clubs in the world are United and Madrid. I think Madrid are the biggest at the moment because they're the success on the pitch. But I just think Man United, they're a global brand. They're a football club, but they're a brand, and the brand's recognised everywhere across the world. I think it's the two key markets as well. I think with United, it's the Far East. And I do think that Champions League in '99 and when they went over to do the Club World Cup thing over there, I think as well, that's their market. And then Real Madrid have got South America, like Mexico and stuff like that. So it's those two key markets. I know Saudi Arabia and Qatar is kind of up and coming and stuff, but it's those two key markets that if you crack them, then you're up there, because Liverpool have got the Far East market as well at the moment.
Yeah,
but
I was going to say, because
Liverpool
Liverpool were above United in those shirt sales figures, which I know they've had a much better last few years, and that was from the 21 season when you guys were absolutely firing on all cylinders. So you would maybe expect that a little bit, but I didn't think Liverpool would be anywhere near United, to be honest.
Well, I just think it's probably because United probably have regressed a little. You know, you think of Manchester United, you think of the success that they've had and that it's built on, but obviously in the last few years it's not been that way, you know, since Fergie's left. But
last decade.
Yeah. So I mean, we as a club, Liverpool, we have grown massively on and off the pitch, which has been brilliant. You know, a lot is said about the owners, what they do and don't do and all that kind of stuff. But we are a global team now again. I know we're not in the Champions League, but we are a global team, and that's... we're definitely up there, definitely.
Yeah, well, I think Liverpool have caught up massively. Ellis, what do you think? Would you say Man United? Where would you put them in the top clubs in the world?
So the thing is, there's not a direct.
There's not like one stat you can say to.
Yeah, I just don't even. I can't think of the word that I'm looking for. But there's not like a direct description of what a big club is. Like there's so many different factors you have to take into consideration. It's not just about on the pitch. It's what I could kind of say is you look at people who don't know football, like over in like standard American person, get them to name teams. They're going to name teams like Real Madrid, Man United. That factors into it. I don't think definitely not the biggest club in the world at the moment. I'd still say they're the biggest club in England. I think that goes without saying, to be completely honest with you. But obviously Real Madrid, 14 Champions Leagues. There's a lucrative history. Just even if they don't do much for the next 5 years, I'd still consider them the biggest club in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I think Real Madrid are top. I'd probably put Man United in the top three, but I'm not sure who I'd put second. Maybe I agree with you, Josh. I think maybe Barca or Bayern had come second, because we've not really spoke about Barca that much, but I think just that legacy that Messi left there and that era of Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, Puyol, Messi, anyone who watched that, I think, had an instant for like Barcelona.
Spain winning the World Cup in 2010, their success predominantly having Barcelona players on the pitch as well, winning the Euros, then the World Cup, and then the Euros in 3 back-to-back tournaments. It's quite an impressive feat. So a lot of Barca players in there. So
that Barcelona team was so good.
It's changed football. That's what it is. You got, looking back over history, you got like the Ajax teams, Milan teams, and the Barcelona teams. They changed the way football is seen and played. And I don't know when we'll get another team like that, to be honest.
No, I don't. And I think it's also because I know they bought a lot of players, but not for huge amounts. Obviously, Messi had been there from quite young, as had Xavi and Iniesta. I know they had David Villa for a little while, who I think they brought in.
The market's completely different now.
Yeah, the market's completely different now. But when you're saying it felt like an organic team that had like grown together and learned to play really well together, and we don't see that quite as much now. Like obviously, City have that under Pep, but that's more like everyone's like a £50 million signing pretty much. The whole starting 11 is game in, game out.
Is he going to come on?
Of course he is. Get him on the fucking pitch, Martial's pants.
Yeah, Højlund, 72 million.
Yeah, that's
worth every fucking penny.
He's saying it before he's even scored.
I like the confidence.
He's going to come on, score an own goal at a corner, and this is going to be the ultimate clip.
Nah, I could picture him bagging. He's just be typical, wouldn't it?
Score 90th minute winner.
I hope it gives him a decent amount of time on the pitch, though.
He'll probably only get about 20 minutes, to be honest.
Is he still just coming back from that injury?
Yeah. He's been training with the team this week. That's why he's in the squad. But he'll get 20 minutes, if that, I reckon. It just depends, because the other issue is Martial's also coming back from injury, so he'll maybe get 20, 30 minutes. I could see him coming on at kind of 60th minute.
Okay.
I'd be happy with that to see get half an hour under his belt just to try and get a feel for what he's about. Hopefully the game opens up quite a bit more towards the
Yeah,
late
I'm hoping
stages
there's
of
some more goals in the second half. I can't lie. I feel like I haven't concentrated on the game too much today. I've watched little bits of it, but I haven't really been 100% concentrated. So I'm going to have to try watch it a little bit more in the second half.
Everybody's predictions are still on course, really.
Yeah, all of them are possible.
Yeah.
Did anyone else get a bet on? Josh, what was your bet today?
Let me have a quick look. So I've got Casemiro 2 fouls, Gabriel a card, Bruno score assist, Rice and Dalot a foul. Got Gabriel to have a foul, but he's got that already. Martinelli shot on target.
There's a lot going into this one.
Yeah.
Rashford shot on target. There is, but we've got a few, and then I've got another bet on as well.
Is Casemiro? I don't even know how to check my bets. I never do this. It's only because I got a free one.
He's out, Casemiro.
Is he not on the pitch?
Yeah, he's there next to Anthony.
Yeah, I thought he was.
I've been watching the game as well.
Ellis didn't even know what players are playing.
No.
He's actually been on it.
Connection. It's not happening in here.
Well, the connection's a bit crap in it. It doesn't look like there's been any changes from either team yet. Obviously, we're waiting for Højlund to come on at some point. We expect to see him throughout the game.
Get Reguilon on, mate.
He'll change the game completely in the
Yeah.
worst possible way for
Yeah.
United fans.
My prediction will come through. 2-1 Arsenal.
Yeah, I said 3-1, so I'm seeing 2 Arsenal goals this half. Josh is going to lose his mind if that happens.
Yeah, chill out.
Second half's about to kick off anyway. It's still weird to me seeing Eddie Nketiah starting up front for Arsenal when you've got all those star players dotted around the pitch. It feels like he's the one there that wouldn't walk into any team in the world. I think the rest did have a decent chance.
Havertz won't work into any team.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, forget about Havertz.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I forget he's even there. That's the issue.
Even after that scuffer in first half as
Whoa,
well.
that was a poor miss.
Yeah.
That was a poor miss.
Just got to get a decent connection on that, haven't you?
Well, the England squad came out the other day for the upcoming friendlies, and it kind of got me thinking about who I think are England's future players and who we're going to have playing maybe at the next World Cup and even going into the future after that. So I wanted to ask you boys' opinion on what you think the squad will look like for the 2026 World Cup for England.
Yeah.
I think, squad-wise, I probably couldn't name everyone, but
No. I'm
the
not saying
three-
starting 11, a couple
think
bench players.
England at the moment got 3 players. You've got Bellingham, Foden and Trent, who are generational talents.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you just need to build around that. That's what you need to do. You need to build around
Saka's
it.
not a generational talent.
Oh.
Not yet. Not
Do
yet.
you not think?
Ooh,
See, I would put Saka as a generational talent over Foden.
But is he... I just think that the 3 players I mentioned, they've kind of added something to that position. Saka, even though he's brilliant, and I'd have him in the Liverpool team if Salah left, he's predominantly a right winger who can cut in, but he does it brilliantly. If you see what I mean?
Saka's the second best right winger in the world behind Salah.
Yeah, but I just think Foden and Bellingham and Trent, there's just something different there. It's like something that Rooney had, that Gascoigne had. There's just that X factor.
I'm not sure. I know what I agree with you definitely on Bellingham. I think Foden, it's a tough one. You can see that he's got lots of skill there, but it's like whether he gets the opportunity to. He's not had, in my opinion, the opportunity to shine once in his career.
I think the problem with City is I wish he not City with Foden. I wish he wasn't at City
Yeah, I agree.
because then he would start week in week out, and like you'd say, he'd be given the opportunity. I'm taking Saka over Foden personally. I think Saka is an unbelievable player. He's also younger than Foden
Yeah,
by a couple of years. I don't know. I think Saka is generational. I think if he could stay fit, Reece James is a generational player.
yeah, he never can though. That's what I mean. I don't
yeah.
even class him as the same thing anymore because he's never consistently fit. It's mental.
It's a shame.
It's fine. It's still recording, so we're good. Even if the stream dips out for a second. Yeah, Reece James, he's obviously a fantastic player, but how injured he is just completely changed it. What do you think, Ellis? You're super passionate about England. Who do you think are the English generational talents at the minute?
Well, obviously Bellingham's just
Yeah, he's top.
he's the main one, and I genuinely think if we don't win a trophy with this team in the next couple of tournaments, it's a massive wasted potential like Belgium's past golden years. Because you look at the team that we've got now, it's just absolutely full of talent, and I personally would put Saka down as a generational talent. I do kind of understand what you're saying when you say he's not added anything different to the position. He's just really fucking good at his position. But I'd definitely have him up there. Look at I'd say Kane. Well, obviously not generational, but I'd say Kane.
He's world
He's one
class.
of the world class striker. I
But
think he will be there.
we had this debate before. I don't know if Kane's not classed as a generational talent, then I don't know what is.
Well,
Because for me, a generational talent has to be in the conversation of world class, like 21, 22, 23, personally. We didn't talk about Kane until he was pushing on.
Yeah, but he's done it for like 7 seasons in a row. And actually, I want to at everyone who smoked me on the internet. Yeah, do you remember that Pele video?
Yeah.
I've had about 1,000 abusive comments towards me, and I thought I'll do a little bit of research, and because all the comments are just saying, "Oh well, Pele's won 3 World Cups. Pele's done this, or 4 is it?
Wasn't
3
there
or 4?
8 teams in the World Cup that night?
Yeah, there was barely any teams as a first point. Second, Harry Kane has scored 1 less goal than Pele has in the World Cup. There was 2 World Cups that Pele won where he only scored 1 goal in each tournament. So like he was there, yeah, but another Brazilian player was there bagging the goals. And I think people missed my point. I'm not saying Pele is bad. I was just saying he's
In
not.
no way,
Yeah, no,
obviously,
he's
yeah. We're not
obviously a
saying that.
fantastic player.
That's not what was being said.
Yeah, but I'm just saying I don't think he's top 3 of all time. But anyway, I'm just a bit passionate about that. I've been absolutely cooked online
Yeah.
for that. Literally, every time I look, it's quite funny.
I think with what we were talking about in general with the England squad, it's 2026, because it's not even that far away. It's not going to look too different.
Yeah.
No.
But if we're going to say future years, I think players coming through that you've got to look for. I'd be quite interested to see how Jude's younger brother develops over the years.
Yeah, you
Oh,
instantly
yeah.
have that a bit of
Yeah,
expectation for him.
Because obviously it'd be tough for him
doing
because of
well
his.
as well.
It'd be tough for him because of his brother. But I just feel like that football is in their DNA clearly.
It's like the Nevilles,
He's
but
playing well
better.
for Sunderland as well.
And he's doing all right at Sunderland. Yeah,
The Sunderland is that, isn't he? That Joe.
Yeah.
Gilman, yeah.
I mean, I think personally, there's probably only going to be 3 players that don't go to 26 that were at the last World Cup.
Who are they?
In Kieran Trippier, maybe Kyle Walker, and Harry Maguire. And I think that's more so because of age than anything else.
Maybe
I think-
Henderson as well. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, Henderson.
Yeah, I forgot.
Do you think
Henderson was-
Phillips will be there?
I do, and
It
I
depends
think
he
how,
will,
I think
yeah.
how his career
I
goes.
think
now.
the reason, and I've put him in my squad is because, for me, I don't know. When I think about England, I don't think we've got anybody that is a level high enough to be a replacement for Declan Rice. So I think you have to take Phillips in order to cover a bit like when we took Henderson at the last World Cup. He probably wasn't good enough to be in a World Cup squad where you want to win the World Cup. But because he had that ability to come in, calm the game down, if Rice needed to come out of the game, Henderson could come in and fill that role. So I think Phillips will probably be that kind of
Backup CDM that can
where
play
if
a
we
similar.
need to see out a game or something like that. Because for me personally, I think our future midfielder for England is Rice, Trent, and Bellingham.
Do you think Trent's going to move into that central midfield role? Obviously,
I think-
we've seen it a bit more.
I don't know
at
if he
Liverpool.
will for Liverpool, especially given the signings that they've made.
I think he will for England.
Yeah, I think
Southgate.
so.
Because, Szoboszlai's young, McAllister's young, Gravenberch is young. So I don't know if Trent's going to make that transition for Liverpool.
Is that you also banking on Reece James being fit and
It
playing
is,
at right
yeah.
back though?
It
Because
is, yeah.
I think that's so unlikely that we'll end up seeing Trent at right back. Because who else?
But
Walker's
even-
going to be too
I don't
old.
think
Even-
Southgate trusts him at right
Even
back.
then, I think dark horse and it's probably Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see it. Maybe Luke Ayling.
Oh my god.
Luke Ayling, fucking hell. But at one point, people were actually calling for him to be in the England squad.
That's just testament to what Bielsa did with those players.
Yeah,
It was even.
it's true. But no, I do know what you mean. I think Bellingham's the most obvious. He's had such a killer start at Real Madrid.
It's unbelievable. He scored
5 and
again.
4.
He scored again yesterday.
Yeah, last minute, wasn't it?
They've taken to him obviously you would take to him a player like that signing
Yeah.
for you how exciting it is, but it's just mental to think that we've got. I think he was the first English player to win a La Liga Player of the Month, and we don't do that great abroad. Well, I don't know if it's the fact that we don't do great.
It
or we
is,
don't
no
really
one goes,
don't
yeah.
really do
It's a
it.
shame. I think if English players went abroad, I think they'd win more Ballon d'Ors. I think if Rooney, if he went, when he was boss at Man United, if he went to like a Madrid or
Yeah.
He was linked to Bayern
Yeah.
for a couple of years.
he would have won a Ballon d'Or. I just think the Ballon d'Or system, I think they look down on Premier League because of the money and stuff. So I think there's an agenda.
The only thing
there,
that worries me about Jude at Real is because their fans have a tendency to turn. So they love him at the moment because he's playing well. But if he has a string of, 5 or 6 games where he isn't quite top class, their fans turn very quickly. I mean, you look at someone like Bale, for example, who's a Real Madrid legend, won everything with them. and they just turned. And I know he didn't help himself either. The way he just kind of, but they turned on him before.
Yeah, but that's why he went like that.
That's what I mean. They turned on. I mean, you look at like. It's a bit worse example, but say Hazard, for example, he went in and because he didn't go in and light Madrid on fire, they just turned on him and they didn't want him anymore. So I think that's my only worry with Madrid is that if he can't sustain this level, then, and I think he will, you know.
I think
he will.
the only my counterpoint to that is, in some senses, I think if he has this season playing as well, or even 80% as well as he is now, he'll have such a good impression that hopefully he'll be allowed to have a couple of bad games, like a little bad spell. Because if he comes in and sets the world alight, imagine now if you're a Madrid fan, you're going to be absolutely over the moon with that signing.
Set because he's 20 years old? You think we're set for the next 10 years?
Yeah, obviously. I'm not saying Madrid fans expect him to score every game now because that's how he started, but they do have a tendency to turn on players and they do boo a lot and that sort of stuff. So
United threw in the box in Martial. Good save from Ramsdale.
Is that a corner?
Real close to a goal there from Man United. Got a corner now.
I think young players, if we're on the topic of young players coming through, that Colwell will be good in defence.
Yeah, I had him as one of my centre-backs.
Interesting to see that Trafford coming through. He's the goalkeeper who's just won, obviously, under-21s European Championship with him. He saved a penalty, didn't he?
Yeah, he was fantastic.
Who does he play for?
Burnley
now. He was on Man City as well.
He did well.
Well, Man City let go of a few of their like younger English talent. Yeah, Cole Palmer. How much was that for? 40 million?
45, I think it was.
Is he someone? I can't lie. I don't know that much about him. Is he someone we'd expect to see?
I think so. Personally,
I think he will because I think
he's been in the England setup already, and you know Southgate likes to promote that and keep bringing players through.
Outside of Saka, I know we've got Sterling, but maybe by 2026 he might be struggling.
Yeah,
we don't have another right winger, so I think he'll be in that squad, if not by default, maybe. You know, the same way I kind of say Phil, and I think he'll probably be better now that he's gone to Chelsea. He'll probably play more than Phillips, but I think Cole Palmer will probably be in the squad by default because you need to have a backup right winger.
Right.
And we've kind of seen from other players like, you know, Foden, Rashford, and they don't really like to play on the right. So they could probably do a job there, but they don't really like to be there. And unfortunately, I don't know if Sancho's going to be good enough. I don't know. He might need a move away from United.
I didn't even consider
about him. Yeah,
exactly.
I think the problem. I love Sancho, and it's a weird one because he's not done anything for United for me to kind of think I love him, but I really like Sancho as a player,
young English player,
and I really, really hope that he can come good.
As I say, but so far he's done naff all, like literally nothing to promote that opinion.
He's not done a lot. I mean, he's shown spells, and I'm like, yeah, okay, Sancho's here. Like last season when he scored against Liverpool, I thought, right, this is what he needs. He needs to score a goal in the Stretford end against Liverpool to kind of put us ahead.
Yeah,
but it just never kind of turned into anything.
Didn't drive on from there, really, did he?
So I don't know. I think probably by the end of the season, he probably will be moved on, unfortunately.
I think it's the best thing for him, to be honest.
And I agree. I think he'll probably...
So like we said, I hope he goes abroad somewhere, goes and plays. I don't even think at a top team.
No, Dortmund, he was brilliant, wasn't he?
Yeah. But no, imagine if he went back to a team like Dortmund, and I'm not saying Real Madrid or Barca, but maybe someone like Atletico or...
See, even as an England fan, I think I'd like to... I'd like to keep him in the Premier League. I'd like to see him at...
He's been awful, though. I don't think it'll do his career any good.
But I think that's partly to do with the Manchester United pressure.
You've done a lot...
You've come into Manchester United. You've come into Manchester United for 75 million, so you kind of have to do something fairly sharpish. Whereas I think he'd go to somewhere like Palace, for example. They'd probably buy him for 25, 30 million. Yes, United take a massive hit on that, and but I think if you go in there, you're not really expected to be anything. Or somewhere like a mid-level team, they get you for 25, 30 million. I mean, he's still really young. He's only like 22.
Yeah, I forget.
So he still has that time.
It feels like he's been around for ages.
Turn himself around and actually become. I mean, when that year he was at Dortmund, everyone was saying, he was starting for England over Saka in people's kind of squads. He was in that. He was like, right, okay, yeah, Sancho's your starter. He's the new star boy. Before people were talking about Saka, now obviously Saka's streets ahead of him, and it's not even a debate. But at the time, so I think he's got that player in him to be there, and he's young enough to kind of turn his career around. I think it's not as if he's kind of 27, 28. And I'd
still definitely give him a chance of doing it. I don't think he's completely lost. I just think he needs to be at a club with much lower expectations for him, and maybe working under a manager. I know Ten Hag's put a lot of effort in and sent him off to training camps, etc. But I think he needs that concentration on him, and maybe to be a bit more respected by the fan base. Like, I know Man United fans want the best for him, but I bet now if he comes on the pitch, there's probably a grumble around the stadium, not a cheer.
I wouldn't say so. I think there's Sancho's, and I think in recent years, there's been a change in United.
Arsenal in the box with Havertz, penalty surely.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, penalty to Arsenal.
He was looking for that though.
Yeah, he was looking for it, but he did definitely get caught, in my opinion.
Stupid.
Havertz winning a penalty for Arsenal against Manchester United.
That'll be Odegaard, won't
I hope so. He's in.
Yeah, is it going to be Odegaard that takes it here?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to get him.
Let's see. Is this a penalty?
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. VAR aren't going to change that, are they?
There's no clear and obvious error in the decision. There you go. Ooh.
No, he catches his back leg. So, yeah, it's 100% going to be a penalty. To be honest, really good run from Havertz, and he got in front of both the players. That's exactly why Arsenal signed him, to be on the edge of the box and to be making those kind of runs. And that's the first time I've really seen him do it effectively. Obviously, he had that chance earlier this game, which he scuffed. Yeah, I think he clearly, look, his leg gets caught, so it's not going to get changed.
I said 2 on Arsenal.
Does he not kick on
That's
Saka's
what I'm
leg?
just thinking. It looks like he kind of frails his leg out a little bit. It's very soft.
It's clumsy.
I think it's because
It's a clumsy challenge. He shouldn't be sticking his leg in like that.
I think it's just because Casemiro comes in as well.
Yeah, both players touch him. Yeah. Only a little bit. He was already going down when Casemiro did.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if VAR changed this, but you never know.
I think they will give it. I'd be surprised if they change it.
Because it's not a clear and obvious error, is it?
It does look like he kicks Wan-Bissaka.
Oh,
He's gone to the screen.
Well, you know what that means, don't you?
Referee's going to the screen. Is it going to end up being a penalty? Josh, say a prayer, lad. Yeah, the consistency of VAR, I actually have no idea what to expect anymore.
Absolutely
You really just don't know what's going to happen next year. They keep you on the edge of your seat, though, I guess, don't they?
Not in a good way, though.
Not in a good way. No consistency, like you said.
Ref's looking at the screen. What's he going to make of this one? I personally think it probably is a penalty, just more because if Wan-Bissaka didn't rush in with that challenge, Havertz's back leg would never have kicked him. If he'd have stayed calm, the referee says no penalty.
Great decision, referee.
I'm surprised by that one.
Never a penalty.
I could have seen it. If it was given, I'd be like, yeah, but I can see why it's not been given.
I personally thought it probably was just.
Yeah, being a bit soft.
He was really looking for it.
Yeah, but I think because Havertz's leg made contact first, and then he felt that contact and then went down.
Yeah, it's a really tough call that. Well, Josh, you've been saved by the referee there. Could have been 2-1 to Arsenal within a couple of seconds. Let's see if United can capitalise on this opportunity.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
On to the England chat again for a second, because there was one question that we didn't really address, and that is, do we think Harry Kane is still going to be the starter for England at the 2026 World Cup as striker?
2026 he should be.
Yeah.
I think that probably
No?
is this one.
I think Ivan Toney personally.
You think he's going to start over Kane?
I think come January this window, I think he'll get the big move away. I think it probably will be Arsenal.
It should be.
Yeah.
I think he'd do well for Liverpool, but there's just no point. There's nowhere for him in that Liverpool squad. Yes, the boy.
61st minute as well.
So I think he'll get that move to Arsenal. I think he'll just absolutely kill the Premier League for a big side. I mean, he smashed it last year at a team like Brentford, and Brentford a decent side. Don't get me wrong, but they're not Arsenal. I think you put Ivan Toney in this squad with
he's going to bag goals in
with
it.
Saka and Martinelli on either side. I mean, he's great with his feet and he's unbelievable in the air as well. So I think. I mean, I wouldn't be disappointed if Kane is starting. I think he's an unbelievable player, but I think he will be pushing on a little bit in his career by then. And I think Toney will probably just about be in his prime by then. So,
Arsenal playing really well here still. On the edge of the box with Odegaard here, who cuts in. Tries having a shot. No. Gets a shot on target, but not a particularly great one.
No, just dug one out there, didn't he?
Yeah.
Man United got a chance to break now.
Go on.
Slip him in.
Manchester United on the edge of the box with Rashford against Saliba.
He's lucky he's so quick because he's a poor ball.
Yeah, it was a pretty poor pass, that, wasn't it?
Expect nothing
And
less.
end to end here at the minute, though. Still feel like we're waiting for the goals to flow in. Now, I think Kane will still be the starter, mainly because
do, to
it's
be
not
honest.
his pace that he
He's
relies
captain
on.
as well. He's captain as well.
Yeah,
isn't he?
and you know what Southgate's like. It wouldn't surprise me if he never
That's-
picks Toby.
That's the thing for me.
He probably might. He might not be manager Southgate though, unless we win the Euros. I don't think we'll be.
Well,
he'll
that's
be
the
the manager.
question. Yeah, if we don't win the Euros,
He won't be because that's the end of his contract after the Euros 2024. I think if we don't win this, he's going to let somebody else have the chance to give it a go.
who would you look at? Because really, they're probably going to want an English manager, and there isn't many options, is there?
Potter.
Whoa.
Don't ever say that again.
Yeah.
I just think right now the biggest thing that's holding England back is Southgate. I think he's done a brilliant job. He's
in getting us back?
well, just
well.
to win anything. I just think like I say, we mentioned the players. You know, these like Bellingham's and Trent and Foden and Saka. I just think if they were playing under a Pep or a Klopp or someone like that, they'd be winning stuff. I reckon. Or I just think with Southgate, he's just too pragmatic. He's plays the two holding midfielders, too slow, and I just think we need someone a bit more exciting managing the team, quite frankly.
I mean, I think this is the frustrating thing about the English FA is that they insist on having an English manager instead of. I mean, we're at a point now where we have a potential golden generation.
Yeah.
Go out and get the best manager.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we talked about Klopp at Liverpool earlier, and we say, right, he's got 2 years left on his deal. Why not go out and get a Jurgen Klopp?
Yeah.
Why? It's nice that they want to try and keep it English and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it was nice 5 years ago when we had fucking Theo Walcott starting for us and this, that, and the other. And you never really
Sam
expected us.
Allardyce. Yeah.
They never
Fucking
expected
hell, yeah.
us to do anything. Whereas nowadays we have a golden generation. Like we should be winning trophies.
Oh,
we need to
100%.
go out and get.
Yeah, well, if we don't win the Euros, then I absolutely agree.
And you've always been a big Southgate backer, though.
Well, it's just
I'm
because
a massive
obviously
Southgate backer. I love him.
with
but
the experiences we've had over the past couple of tournaments, I've got a lot of time for him. But I think this is the last roll of the dice, 100% with the Euros. If we win it, we can't really then say, well, you're not taking the team.
To be
the
honest,
World
I
Cup.
think the World Cup should have been the last roll of the dice. I think we should have got rid of him and tried getting someone better in already.
I think with the World
I
Cup,
know we did well, but I think we're already in that golden generation
Still didn't
period.
win.
yeah, but at the same time, we're a Harry Kane penalty away from going to extra time,
and
then
then
you never
potentially
know.
getting to the
Yeah,
You
final.
never know what happens. So
But you could say that forever. It'll probably be the same case in the
Oh,
Euros.
yeah.
If we don't end up
I
winning
think
it, we'll be close.
I think we were better than France, and I think it looked like we were clicking in that tournament.
And France scored a banger from outside the box, etc. as well.
But we really I think we're really unfortunate because I think that's why there was no
fucking
better
Arsenal.
feeling. Who's coming on?
Harry Maguire's coming on for Arsenal. For Manchester United? Sorry, yeah.
Oh, God.
Maguire coming on. Who's injured? Why is Maguire?
Maguire and Lindelof as a CB pairing. Oh my God.
fucking can't be arsed. I'd rather put Johnny Evans on.
Rest in peace to the
Johnny
butcher.
Evans.
The butcher, you know. Jeez. Big hard man.
Josh looks real upset right now. Are you happy that Harry Maguire stayed?
Why would you ask that?
Well, surely it's better than Johnny Evans.
No, I'm not.
Is he actually not? As a player, would you
Probably-
genuinely rather have
he
Evans
probably
play?
is, right? But we're saying this now, whereas 3 weeks ago we had 30 million waiting for us from West Ham for him to fuck off, so we could go out and sign somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
But the greedy cunt decided that he'd rather we offered him £6 million to buy him out of his contract at United, and he wanted 12.
Hoyland's coming on.
That's why the deal fell through.
So I guess the fans really aren't on board with Maguire anymore.
So that's why it fell through, not because the negotiations between West Ham and United fell through or anything like that. It's because he wanted another 6 million in his buyout.
That's ridiculous. I had no idea about that.
He's not doing
insane.
himself favours, is he? Like, he's go play. I think he'd have done well at West Ham, me personally.
No, I think that could have been the thing that got him back in that England
I think there's a
conversation.
There's a player in there, man. I know he gets ridiculed a lot, but in Manchester United, it's just not worked for him. And I think just collect yourself, go elsewhere, and you could just.
I was
solidify him.
never against him. It just didn't work, and I thought, you know what, it's time for him to go.
Yeah.
But now I just dislike him because of that. Like, he's not only he's cost us 30 million, but he's also cost us the opportunity to bring somebody else in.
It's a rebuild, isn't it? To get
Like, we were linked to that Jean-Claire Tobido or whatever his name from Nice. And to be fair, I don't know anything about him, but from what I've heard, he's a decent centre back.
Martinelli.
Martinelli on the edge of the box today. Just misses the bottom corner there. Onana was scrambling across the net.
Let's have a look at that again.
Really good shot from him there.
First time in.
Oh, that's
Close.
so close to the bottom corner. I've got to admit, it has generally been Arsenal on top so far this half.
Hoyland's on now. Let's see what he can do, Josh. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, said he's 100% bagging, so Hoyland's time
Bilbo
to shine.
Baggins.
Who was that just got booked?
Onana.
Onana.
Goalkeeper.
He's going to get suspended, you know.
It's a nice
Do you know
keeper.
what? His booking last week was very, very harsh. So he got a similar booking against Forest for time wasting. But it turns out there's another ball on the pitch. So he couldn't take the kick off anyway.
Oh, yeah, that's ridiculous.
But he was booked anyway, and it looks like the booking stood as well.
It's like when Trent got booked when he got fouled at Newcastle,
Yeah,
and then
that was
he just kind of threw the ball back onto the pitch in frustration, and he got booked for time wasting. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
But I think he got booked for dissent.
Well, is that what it was?
Yeah, because it
Well,
wasn't-
even that was
he
ridiculous
didn't
as
throw
well.
it at Gordon, but it looked like he kind of threw it in the direction of Gordon, so I think it was dissent. But it was
Bollocks,
stupid.
really, though, innit?
It was stupid.
It's interesting to see Zinchenko back in the Arsenal lineup. Obviously, he hasn't started many games from so far this season, but he was one of those signings. Obviously, Zinchenko and Jesus coming in that are those proven winners. And I've got to admit, I don't know about Zinchenko.
I don't think he's top class. I think there's a mistake in him, and I don't know. I think he's, like I say, he's got experience and he's won leagues, so he's in that. He knows
He's
the
part of the
mentality.
team.
Yeah, he's a good team player, but I just don't think he's not world class. He's not. I don't think he'll win a league with. I don't think he'll win the league with Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? I just don't think.
You just can't really see anyone other than anyone other than City winning it, can you?
Well, like in Champions League, he's one of the players that would look decent in the Premier League, but Champions League, it's mistaken him. Definitely
Yeah, I
mistake.
feel like he's a bit too lightweight whenever I watch him.
Yeah.
I think against a good winger, he's gonna get bullied
Shoulder
a
to
little
shoulder.
bit.
Yeah.
You need to have a bit of physicality, really, don't you? And he seems to like that a little bit.
So, what do you think then, Josh? Are Man United still gonna get the win here, or
Yeah,
got Højlund running through now?
He's pestering.
that's a foul.
It could have been a foul, but
Fucking rest, man.
He looked like he had burners on him then, didn't he?
He does. He's fucking rapid, man. I'm
He's
telling
he's
you.
a big he's relatively
big,
big
isn't he?
lad as
Yeah,
well.
big.
He looks dead quick.
I watched a video about him, and his journey to the Premier League has been really interesting
Mad,
because when he was coming through the academies, he wasn't really getting a look in at the team he was at, and then managed to break through a little bit. And what you'll probably know more than me, Josh. He went to
He was at Copenhagen, and then he went to an Austrian side.
but that was like their record signing of all time for 3 million. So there was kind of big expectations, and he did great there. And then obviously went over to Italy after that.
Atalanta, and then he was 17 mil, I think he was from them. I think maybe even less. And then obviously they've made big money off selling him to us. But yeah, no, I'm interested to see how he does. I think he'll be a player.
Yeah. It's nice to see like an out and out striker. I feel like we missed
I
that.
miss those. Yeah, that's not what that Ferguson's like. Just no nonsense. Just goals.
But I think that's going to come back again. I mean, obviously football goes in.
Yeah.
I think we're looking at another era of that. Obviously at the top of the game, you've got Haaland that's that.
Yeah.
Then you've got a Ferguson, Højlund's that build of a big number 9. So I think there's a few.
Traditional.
Yeah.
In the Premier League, they're floating about at the minute, aren't they?
It's
obvi-
been
And then
the
obviously
era
Ivan
of
Toney's a
wingers
sort of
recently.
similar
Yeah.
sort of player.
yeah, maybe the era of wingers is coming to an end.
Yeah.
It could be. Man United playing around the Arsenal box here for the last minute or so, looking a little bit better than they have done so far this half.
Get it into him. Overhit that.
Pretty
but it's
poor ball, but Rashford's picking it up on the wing. I had one last debate for us on this show, boys. One that we touched on a few weeks ago. Rashford in the box, plays it to Højlund, nearly gets it off, but Arsenal managed to get it away. Real close there from Manchester United.
That was fucking disgusting from Rashford, by the way.
Yeah, Rashford's had a great game overall,
Done
hasn't
well,
he?
yeah.
Get out.
back in his natural habitat, isn't he, on the left-hand side?
And as bad as this is to say, I know the penalty wasn't given, but I actually think every time I've seen Havertz on the ball, he's actually looked pretty
It's a
decent.
decent game.
He's
Yeah.
strung a few good passes
yeah,
together.
apart from his little scuffer, yeah.
well, yeah, that one's...
But no, I'd agree. It's not exactly like it's been a clanger. Do you know what I mean? He's done all right.
which is rare for him. But yeah, one more big debate for the show, boys, and that is, we kind of touched on this a few weeks ago, and is the Championship a top 10 league in the world?
No.
We got laughed at for this one because I think it potentially is. I would put it in and around that area, and I've got a few facts to...
So just to correct you there, we laughed at you because you said top 7.
No, he said that. I
didn't say
didn't.
top 7.
Yes, you did. You said top 7.
Yeah, you lie. You bunch of liars.
Bro,
Top 10.
you said top 7.
Anyway, the debate is top 10. So, Josh, do you think the Championship's a top 10 league in the world?
I think I just said no, but I've thought about him, and it probably is.
Right.
But yeah, probably. You'd probably say it would be, yeah. Especially this year.
Ellis, look at the change in tune.
There you go.
It probably is.
Top 10 and top 7 is a very different conversation.
I know. That was just me getting a bit too passionate.
I think if you look at the
Didn't have my level
championship,
head on.
there's some big teams in the championship this year. So I think maybe this year you would say yeah.
You've got to look at just even like average attendances, stuff like that. I think, do you know, for the playoff final, not last year, the year before, for Nottingham Forest to come back to the Premier League, it had a peak viewing of like 2.4 million, which is mad. So it's for a second tier team, it's going to be a lot than some of the other leagues across Europe. I mean, I know you wouldn't consider Belgian league big, but they've like their average attendance in comparison to the Championship is quite low.
Well, before I jump into this, what do you think? Do you think the Championship is?
I think in terms of quality, no, but in terms of attendance, I think I think the last few years it's higher than Serie A, I think, average attendance. So I think it is in the top 5 or something like that.
Viewership and stuff like that.
Quality-wise, I don't think so. I think it is.
Right.
I think it is still quite poor, but I think
I'd agree with that.
In terms of like competitive nature, like excitement, I think it's probably one of the most competitive leagues in the world because probably like 5 or 6 teams could win it.
The excitement at the playoffs at the end.
And I think it's the reward at the end as well, because the Premier League's obviously the most lucrative league in the world.
That's what I mean. It's got to be top 10 for me because the Premier League's the best league in the world, and that's the stepping stone to the biggest league in the world. So it's going to be an interesting one.
Hit it.
Go on.
Oh, why have you taken your fucking... what are you doing?
Josh getting slightly stressed here. Arsenal on the counter-attack after a United corner here, though. If he can spray that to the other wing. Poor ball. He just had to get that to Martinelli there.
It's end to end, no.
But back to the Championship debate for a second. So I got a couple of stats together on this, and this one's on average attendance. So the average attendance in the Championship in the 21-22 season was 23,000, and then in League One in France it was 27. So it's not that much higher, and obviously a lot of that came from like 3 or 4 teams.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose it will in the Championship as well. But then some leagues that the Championship actually beats, which surprised me. You got the Brazilian League, because in all the rankings I looked at, the Brazilian League was like 8th or 9th, because obviously there's some good teams over there. Yeah. There's a lot of quality players that are especially been picked up by Premier League teams. Their average attendance was 21,500 throughout the league, so the Championship beat that. The Belgian League, which is again ranked above the Championship in a lot of rankings, had an average attendance of 10,000. The Eredivisie is 17,500. So again, a couple thousand more. And then you got the Portuguese League, which sits at 14,000. And then the Turkish League, which is 10k.
Does that also not highlight stadium size?
It does in a lot of cases, but
like
even
if you look at, I mean, obviously that's taken from last season, but say you look at this season, for example, you've got Leeds, Leicester, Southampton,
Sunderland's 40 odd K.
You know, there's a lot of teams in there that have Premier League size stadiums.
But it is the same, maybe not in the Belgian league, but in the Portuguese and Turkish leagues, a lot of these teams do have massive stadiums, or at least there's a similar in terms of there's 3 or 4 with big ones, and then the rest are like 20, 25.
Yeah, so I mean, like in the Turkish league, for example, you got Galatasaray, Fenerbahce, and Besiktas. Outside of that, there's not really massive teams that are going to have big stadiums.
Yeah, but that's a similar. Yeah, it's the same
though.
in the Championship.
You've got like a top 4, 5, or even 3 that have got the highest capacity.
Who's in the Championship this
season?
season?
Yeah, and then you've got the big teams are Southampton, Leicester, Leeds, Sunderland. Who else?
Middlesbrough in there?
Yeah, Middlesbrough have got a decent sized stadium.
Oh,
Sheffield Wednesday, they've got a good stadium and get a lot of fans.
Ipswich is nearly touching 30,000, so...
This is what I mean. There's more than you think in the Championship.
I just think in general in England there's more of. I just think because it's an English sport. I think it's in our DNA, football fans. Even if you support a lower league team, you're going to go. There's always that passion. I don't know across the continent, the lower leagues. I mean, I honestly don't know. I've never been to a lower league game across the continent, but is that passion there? Are they going to? Is there the demand there for building stadiums of that size? Do you see
I can't
what I mean?
speak for some of them, but I've been to games in the Greek league, and there was 40k people there, and a few
in the lower leagues.
Oh well, no, it was.
That's what I mean, like second league.
No, but I'm comparing the Championship to their top leagues. No, I'll get onto it.
I think it's not so much the I think actually what it comes down to is the money's not there for them to build these big
Man
stadiums.
United through here with Rashford, 3-on-2 up front. What's Rashford going to do with it?
Waited for you.
Not much by the looks of
What's he
things.
done?
Awful play from Rashford there.
It's indecisive. That's what that is. Look at that. Look at the burners
He's
on him.
fucking rapping, mate. I'm telling you, he's going to light this league on fire.
Rashford really should have at least tried to get a pass off there. But away from the attendances, because there is a lot of leagues around the world that are at similar sized stadiums on average. But I wanted to look at the market value as well, because obviously you spoke about quality, saying that the Championship probably doesn't have as many quality players. So this is, again, on Transfer Market, and it's the overall value of the squads that are in the Championship. And the Championship is at 1.7 billion.
Okay.
And then the ones underneath it, a similar list to the ones that we just spoke about, is the Brazilian League, which is 1.4. And then the Turkish League is only 1 billion, which quite surprised me, actually. I thought it'd be higher than that. Then the Portuguese League is at 1.27. So apparently, according to the general market value of the players, the Championship is worth £500 million more than the Portuguese League. And obviously the Portuguese League has produced some of the best players in the world in the last couple of decades. You saw that Nunes move to Liverpool for a lot of money. And you see a lot of good players come from there. And then just to throw it in there, the Scottish League is at 330 million. I mean, because we're going to have a debate about that at some point. But yeah, I found it. What do you think about that one? Do you think that changes the quality piece a little bit?
I don't think you really meant that.
My only argument to that would be, why is there not a consistent dipping into the Championship for players from Premier League sides, especially the top sides?
Because they're normally people getting loaned out to the Championship.
Normally,
younger players,
you know,
quite a lot of the time.
Like you bring up the Portuguese League, for example, like as a top side, more often than not, they're linked to a, you know, I don't think I've ever known United to be linked with a Championship player. Whereas we are consistently linked with Portuguese players. I mean, we've just signed a keeper from Turkey, for example. Whereas there's probably keepers in the Championship that could come in and do a job.
I think for me, it's because a lot of when the Championship has a star player or two in a team, or a team that's doing really well, they generally get promoted.
Yeah.
And then they're a Premier League team. And you probably wouldn't notice that difference. Like when a team comes up and then people like Ivan Toney, for example, he was smashing it in the Championship for 2 seasons before they got promoted with Brentford. And now we talk about him as that next big talent. But it's because he can step up to the Premier League.
Yeah, like I get
you don't
that,
stay in the
but
Championship
I
forever,
think
do you?
ultimately they kind of say, well, it's just the Championship. I think that's the mindset of a lot of players. I mean, the big argument against Mitrovic for a long time was he can do it in the Championship, but he can't do it in the Prem. Like, fair enough, he did it last season and he's gone now, but that was the big downer on him was...
Arsenal in the box.
He's got to
Saka
do
with
better.
a fantastic chance, who completely fumbled.
He just hit it straight at the keeper,
Yeah,
didn't
he should have done way better with that. Manchester United on the counter-attack now, though, with Anthony, who's just going to probably do nothing, isn't he?
He's still got hold of it, but...
He's done well to keep it there, to be honest. There was 2 players around him. But Arsenal with a really good chance there.
Anywhere
completely
else and
fucked
it goes in, but he just hit it straight at the keeper.
Great save from Onana.
Onana just stood still as a...
Give him man at match.
So that's kind of my argument against that is, you know, why isn't there kind of that consistent? I mean, I think the only player that I can really think of that comes to mind that's done that's been bought by a Prem side but from Championship is Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, but do you not think it is in terms of when a Championship team's doing well, they'll get the players from the Premier League teams that aren't wanted or get them on loan.
Yeah,
and then the next season they'll probably be in the Premier League anyway. Like look at that Leeds team that came up and some of the players. Ben White was our best player in the season before, and now look at him. He's starting for Arsenal every game. Try to think of some other examples of teams who have come up recently. Well, Villa only came up a couple seasons ago, and a lot of the players that did really well there and are still playing for them at this point.
You can even look back to, I know they didn't get promoted, but when Derby got to the final of the playoffs, you had players like Mason Mount in there, like loans. I mean, it's a good enough league for teams to have young talent in the Prem and look to the Championship and say, well, you're not going to get game time here, so we'll push you out.
Was Conor Gallagher in that team as well?
Conor Gallagher? No, there was
Did
somebody
I imagine
else.
that?
There was another Chelsea lad, wasn't there?
Mm.
I don't know. I try not to think about that Derby team too much. Yeah, it's me too much. But they obviously think the quality of the football is good enough to go let them enhance their abilities for a season, get some game time under the belt.
Yeah, it's game time and week in, week out. That's what it is.
I think it's so as a United fan, for example, we sent Diallo there to Sunderland. We also sent Alvaro Fernandez to Preston. some championship sides. I think that's the destination for players that are sent on loan when they're not considered Prem ready. But I know a lot of Prem teams would rather loan to a Prem team. So, for example, like Chelsea with Conor Gallagher a few years ago, they sent him to Palace. There's been a lot of talk with United, sending a few players on loan, like Hannibal, for example, who's on the bench for us today. There was talk of him going on loan, but we'd only send him on loan to a Premier League side because we wanted him to get Premier League game time instead of just game time. So I don't know. I think obviously there is quality in the Championship, but I think ultimately the top divisions, whether they're in this country or another, are higher quality, and that's why you see those transfers coming in, not necessarily.
See, I disagree in a sense of, I think the other top divisions, obviously there's ones that are clearly above the Championship. You've got the Premier League, the Serie A, the La Liga, the French League, Bundesliga, yeah.
Dutch league.
Yeah, but then, I mean, the Eredivisie, I would say is, I'm not sure with the Portuguese.
Yeah, I am.
Because if you look at the Portuguese league last season,
Portuguese league.
There's the top four though, and then the rest is like 20 points below them, and it's always the same top four. It never really changes. So it's like you've got those four teams. You could predict the top four of the Portuguese league practically every game.
Johnny Evans.
So is this?
This is a very
right
weird
now.
thing
We've got a Manchester United defence. Johnny Evans is coming on. You've got a Manchester United defence which consists of Harry Maguire, Johnny Evans, and Lindelof.
Lindelof's just gone
Oh,
off.
did he just go off?
Still,
All right,
I can't believe it's
Harry
2023.
Maguire and Johnny Evans playing as the Manchester United centre backs against Arsenal in 2023 is fucking crazy.
It is wild.
Let's get Paul Parker back on as well.
Arsenal in the box.
Saka's not had his brightest
yeah,
game, has
Saka
he?
could have done a bit better with some of these opportunities.
Towards the back stick.
Cheers, Siri.
Check it out.
Thanks for that one, Siri. Arsenal looking threatening again here, though. Only a couple.
Challenge.
For Saka, end up on his
A
back.
corner. We've got 5 minutes left of the game. Do we think we'll see a sneaky goal?
I think there's a winner somewhere.
Yeah, it could come from either side because United have looked pretty quick on the break with Rashford and Højlund up front.
I think with the players United have on now, a set piece would be really good for them.
Well,
Obviously, you got Højlund,
Slabhead on
Maguire,
it.
yeah,
Big old slabhead. One thing is good for, innit?
fridge freezer unit with the header.
Yeah.
Arsenal about to whip a corner in here, though.
Let's have a look. Oh,
Another awful one from Martinelli. It's the second time they've done that this game where it's barely even left the ground. I'm not sure if it's some kind of tactic, but if it is, it's not a smart one in my opinion.
no, not at all. It's frustrating to watch a professional footballer not beat the first man from a corner.
It's so
Basic,
regular
isn't it?
as well.
Basic thing, like beat the first man.
And you said he was in that conversation with Rashford.
Martinelli, I still think he is.
He
He had a fantastic season last year. He got like 8 goals, 8 assists, only 21, 22 years old.
Come cross his T's him.
Nah, I mean, I did pick Rashford in the end, but I do think that Martinelli's a fantastic footballer as well. And I think I think in 3 years he'll be better now than Rashford is now.
Well,
Rashford will be better than he is now.
Will he?
Yeah.
How old is he now?
24, 25.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to keep improving up till he's 28, 29?
Well, Kane wasn't in his prime at that age. I know he's a different kind of player, but people just hit primes at different times, don't they? You never know.
Yeah.
Prime time, baby.
Go on.
Man United looking like a good counter-attacking
Go on.
opportunity
Play
here.
it. Get in.
Højlund's
Go on.
running through on goal.
Baxter.
Gets it in the box.
Take him on.
Go on. Could have been a penalty there, potentially.
He's waved it off.
No, referee says no chance.
Time. Look, Arsenal players.
It's been end to end in the last couple of minutes so far.
Come on, let's press.
Why did it just slow down drastically then, didn't it? Probably been told to calm it down, haven't they?
Yeah.
Because they keep getting hit on break.
Manchester United are clearly playing for the counter attacks at the minute.
It worked for him at Old Trafford last year, didn't it? Really.
What have you thought of this game overall, Josh? Because it's been a pretty poor start to the season, but I think
I'm happy with the way that we've looked today.
It's the best you've looked this year so far, isn't it?
It was, again, I say it was a good goal, but would Arsenal's goal have happened if we hadn't have scored? Probably not.
Yeah.
So I think, it's a shame. I think we've looked good, but I'm just concerned Martinez gone off with an injury. Like, are we looking at fucking Maguire and Lindelof for the starting centre-backs for the next few weeks?
It's not good enough, is it really?
It seems like every game we have somebody else go out. Like, we played well against Forest. I think we went 2-0 down after a fucking crazy 5 minutes. But actually, we were the better team all game, and we got the result we deserved.
Oh,
Manchester United are through here, 1-on-1. Garnacho.
Yes! You played here, boy!
Who's he on?
Is he onside is the question, but it's currently 2-1 to Manchester United.
Oh, God. Good composed finish.
Get the camera on,
Good
Josh.
finish.
Get the camera on, Josh.
Yes!
Going
That's what he
mental.
does, mate. This is what he does.
Well, last week you said you're not coming back this week.
I'm here every week, mate.
He's an happy man this time round. Oh, dear.
Could be a massive win for Manchester United this.
Kickstart your season.
If they manage to keep a hold of it. It's been a pretty poor start to the year. All the
What are they
Arsenal
moaning
players are
about?
surrounding the referee for some reason.
I think they're asking for offside.
We'll see. Won't they? I don't know if they'll be surrounding him for that because they know the VAR do it soon.
Oh, I think there was a potential foul from
Yeah.
Bruno.
Let's have another look
I
at the
think
goal.
that's a clear tackle.
Yeah, he's onside.
Yeah, he's on.
Yeah, he looks like he's onside there.
Gabriel's playing him on.
He's proper tried.
Gabriel, who hasn't started for Arsenal yet this season, looking like one of the main reasons that goal's gonna count. Oh,
On the check.
is he onside?
Get the
I think
lines.
because Gabriel's leaning forward, personally,
It's a close one, that, isn't it?
he's off.
Is it offside?
Uh-oh.
I fucking hate VAR.
Well, that's unfortunate, isn't it?
Oh well, Hoyland.
Brings it back to
There you
1-1. We've got, well, there'll probably be a fair bit of added time now. So
Yeah,
there's a
you
minute
think
left
so? There
of,
would be with
of
this one,
normal
wouldn't there?
time. Well, he really celebrated that goal as well.
I
Did,
know.
didn't he?
Fucking VAR,
I still
man.
think he was onside.
Wait, you're going to get home and be drawing your own lines?
Yeah.
I think it was that little, he did like a little skip, Gabriel, didn't
Yeah.
he? And that was kind of what did it
Smart
in the
decision.
end.
Smart defending that, to be fair. He
Yeah.
knew he wasn't going to get there, so
Yeah.
just try and get him offside.
Imagine if Arsenal managed to grab one now. See how long gets added on. Ellis, will you grab us a drink, please?
Of course, mate. What's
I'll
on the
take
menu?
him out.
What's on the menu? You know, we'll go for a hazy Jane this time.
Jane?
Thank you. Yeah.
Reece Nelson on for
You all good?
Martinelli.
I'm good. I'm all right. Thanks.
Reece James has come on for Arsenal. We've seen him get that last-minute winner last season at the Emirates. Could he do it again against Man United?
Reece Nelson, yeah.
Has Jesus been on all game?
No.
No.
I was going to say, I've not seen him once.
He came on about 15, 20 minutes
Yeah.
ago, I think.
Well, it's interesting. Like 8 minutes added on.
8
wow.
minutes, enough time for either team or probably both to score.
I imagine Josh will have an heart attack. Clip it.
I'm going to have to clip that VAR goal already. It's how it goes, man. It's how it goes. We'll do a Leeds match at some point, and you'll see
that'd be
you'll see me and Ellis super stressed.
Oh, God.
We'll try to do Leeds West Brom. Get Big TG on.
That'd be naughty, that.
DG.
I don't know if we'd have a chance with that one, but I'll give it a go.
There you go.
Woo. Well, it's been an entertaining
It's been a
game.
good
Despite
game. It's been a good game.
only 1-1, but it's been good still. Obviously, the penalty shout from Havertz, he missed the sitter as well.
There's a few key talking points, isn't there?
Yeah,
What's he done there?
Rice just blasting the ball up pitch with practically no direction there.
That'll be frustrating to see.
Well,
We deserve this.
I think a point would be a fair reflection of the game, in all honesty. But to see the team win it, it'd be quite fun.
yeah, it'd be entertaining for us, potentially entertaining for Josh.
Yeah, just depends which way it goes, isn't it?
Oh, imagine the stress if Faisal was here as well.
Oh my God. Cool. Yeah, he's probably just stressing at home instead now.
Yeah, see if either team can get a winner. I can't believe you've got Maguire and Evans playing. It's
nuts, that, isn't
it's
it?
actually
Yeah.
ridiculous for a team that spent so much money in the last few years to have them two as your only defensive options when something goes wrong is mental.
I know it's not what you need when you want to be challenging top four,
No,
top
you-
half.
Oh, fuck off, referee, man. You fucking dumb.
Soft.
Free kick for Arsenal at the edge of their own box. Do you know what's mad as well? I keep seeing like the Prime advert on the side of the pitch.
It's crazy what they've
They've
done. innit?
absolutely smashed it, haven't they? So
Bayern Munich now as well. aren't
But
they?
Bayern Munich, Arsenal, Barcelona, they're the sponsor of three of the big, the UFC.
UFC, yeah.
The WWE, because he's in there as well.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, they're not an official sponsor, but he's allowed to come out with a bottle of it every week.
Was it WrestleMania?
Yeah. I think KSI was
dressed as a bottle of Prime.
Yeah, that was a top tier
That was
moment.
brilliant, that, to be fair.
We were all shouting in the front room.
I just didn't expect it. For some reason, I didn't. I should have done, really. We should have done, shouldn't we? Arsenal pushing forward now.
Yeah, Arsenal, well, they've kept the ball for the majority of added time so far. We've got about 5 minutes left to go. Arsenal with the ball on the wing. Fabio Vieira, I don't see much of him. He was a £30 million signing, and I don't really know what he does.
He changed the game against Fulham when he came on.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Got 2 assists.
Mad.
See, that's what I mean. I've not seen a lot of
Yeah,
Arsenal.
I just don't know much about him. I won't claim he's good or bad. I'm just not sure.
Is he a winger or a number 10? What is he?
Like an attacking midfielder.
Really?
Like kind of just a bit of both, really.
Am I the only one that like kind of wants to see Havertz do well?
Yes.
Like I just I'd love it if he just had a killing rest at season and got like couple goals, couple of assists. I don't know why I just feel like he's been so abused.
He needs a big goal, and he needs a big moment.
I'm not really fussed either way, to be honest with you. But I hear what you're saying because of what he's...
Arsenal with the ball on the wing. Is it Reece Nelson there? Cuts it back.
God, he's had a bit of a clanger, haven't they? To be fair.
Yeah, Arsenal's attack hasn't been as slick as it usually is. Saka's messed up a couple of opportunities. Nelson winning it back on the wing again, though.
He's nicked it off him.
Another poor cross from him, though.
Oh,
Play Johnny.
It's all going through Reece Nelson. Poor touch.
He's done himself there, hasn't he?
Arsenal are all over Manchester United at the minute. If you check the heart rate on Josh's watch, it would not look good.
Nope.
He's going to check it for us. I feel like that would be such a good feature. You know, if you could have on the stream everyone's heart rate in the bottom corner, that would be so good.
Oh, man, imagine the England game. It would not look healthy for me.
94. Not too bad.
Yeah, Arsenal so far in extra time, it's been all them whipping across into the box with no one there again.
I want to attack it, huh?
I don't know why I feel like because Manchester United have been playing that counter-attacking game, if Arsenal fall off for a second, it could be a good opportunity for them.
I think that's the best bet for him, but running out of time.
Out of time. Yeah. Good game overall, though. Manchester
it's
United
been a good game.
in their Newcastle kit.
I know, yeah, like Juventus or Notts County, I keep saying.
yeah, I never think of it as a United kit. The thing is, though, I hated on it, but when I seen it in real life, it is actually quite a nice
in
kit.
person.
I think it's sexy, man.
Yeah, I would slay it online, but in real life, it's decent. Poor shot from the edge of the box there. I think it's from Odegaard, but it's gone for a corner in the end.
Oh, this ref's off his fucking beam.
3 minutes left. Arsenal with a corner. Can they do something from it?
Yeah, can they beat the first man?
Oh, God, yeah.
Depends if Martinelli's on it again.
No, it's gone off.
My brain doesn't remember substitutions, I swear. I see them happen, but...
We're busy talking, aren't we?
Yeah, facts. I'd like to see a winner here. Arsenal about to whip this one in.
Ooh.
Declan Rice.
Oh!
It's 2-1 to Arsenal. Declan Rice, the over £100 million player.
I can't believe it. No way. Is that a Saka assist? It will be, won't it?
In the 96th minute, Josh.
That's a tough one to take, that, isn't it?
Damn. Well. Are you going to come back on again, Josh?
Oh, no.
Well, it's 2-1 to Arsenal, and that's probably how the game will end now. We've got probably 3 minutes left by the time they continue playing. But a massive goal for Declan Rice, who obviously a massive signing for Arsenal with such a huge price tag, really needs something like that to keep playing. I don't think there was anything Onana could have done about it. He got a good hand to it, but it was so close to the goal with that much power. Let's have another look at the goal, though. Maybe he could have done.
Fucking Harry Maguire deflection.
He could have done slightly better with that potentially, but a massive deflection there. So not much Onana could have done, but
it's a wicked one, isn't it?
yeah. Arsenal at the Emirates, like we said, it's a cauldron at the minute with these last-minute winners all the time.
The score predictions come through, boys.
Well, I said 3-1, so
Yeah, I should have put bet down, mate.
just need one more. Did you say 2-1 at the start? Damn.
Should have had that bet down.
What was your prediction, Josh?
3-2 United.
Shit.
Still on.
I had
goal every-
2-2, so you never know.
Yeah.
There'll be a couple minutes left, won't the boys? It's not going to end like that.
I don't think so. Because there's obviously celebrating for a couple of minutes, won't there?
Well, no, that's what I mean. So it's probably going to go for another 3 minutes or so. Yeah.
I feel like they might be checking something. I don't know.
I don't think there's.
There's not. I don't know if there is anything to check, but it just seems like there's a delay.
There's claiming there was Evans was pulled back or
I
something.
think
like
there's
that.
claims. I think they might be checking something because
Well, these Arsenal fans are. Don't think so.
Imagine you left the stadium
I know,
already.
yeah.
I proper don't get that, me. Why would you go to a football match and when it's in the last couple of minutes and it's a draw in the biggest game of the season, would you leave?
And
the
that could be a
stadium?
winner as well. Yeah,
It's
bizarre.
absolutely mad. I see it at Ellen Road all the time and it proper angers
there
me.
you go.
To beat the traffic, though, that's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, but who cares if you spent that much on a ticket and
I
you've
know,
travelled all the way to the stadium? Just stay for the last couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Jorginho just got brought on for Arsenal as well. Slightly more defensive-minded than Odegaard. Probably a little bit better at keeping possession. While we see Arteta go wild on the touchline.
It's just a funny old game, isn't it, football?
Yeah.
Especially with
I mean,
VAR
to be
checks
fair
and
though,
that.
we were saying in that whole period since added time came on, Arsenal were just all over United.
United were just looking to
They
hit
went
on
for it,
counter,
yeah.
weren't they?
Yeah, Nelson had like 3 opportunities to get it in the box and failed, but it was just a matter of time until one of them was going to. So open though, there was
Yeah.
no one anywhere
was
near
there?
him. No one even close.
Relatively
him down.
big lad just on his own in the box.
Yeah,
I know it
it's-
was at the back stick, but it's still a bit wild that defensively.
So we're up to the 99th minute. There was 8 minutes added on, but I'm guessing there's going to be another 1 or 2 left at least. Man United going for a long throw in.
Winners, are we?
Maguire tries flicking it on, but
Nobody else there.
failed. Another United throw in
Take it
close to the
quick.
Arsenal
Take it
box.
quick, take it quick. Don't fucking just launch it in 'cause don't do all.
Højlund tries to chest it down in the box, but it's a big ask for him to do anything there. You've got Johnny Evans
Don't
defending
push
it.
him. Why are you pushing him?
It's a weak foul though, isn't it? He's going to go down, but
That's what I mean. That's
get
poor
given,
from
though.
Jesus.
how old's Johnny Evans?
34, 35. Must
Damn.
be.
Where was he prior? At Leicester.
Leicester.
Yeah.
Ericsson whips it in the box for United. Nothing again. Arsenal breaking
Oh.
through here. Gabriel Jesus through 1-on-1.
Oh,
He's put it past Nana.
oh, good finish.
Your bet, Joe.
3-1, yeah.
3-1. I said it.
It's
all gone wrong.
It's all gone quiet over there.
It was always going to happen.
Got to go for it, haven't you? As if. I can't believe
Three.
it, yeah.
3-1 to Arsenal at the Emirates. Who'd have thought it? I would have done. But, yeah, a tough one for you, Josh. And we were saying earlier, it was up to probably the 85th minute. It was one of United's best performances of the season, and then it's just fallen apart. I mean, I think, to be honest, when we saw Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire as the centre-back pairings, you could have predicted that it's not going to go too well, but I wouldn't have predicted 2 goals within 15 minutes. I think this goes back to your point of you can't have them 2 as your backups. It's absolutely mental.
Johnny Evans is playing him on. No, you can't. I mean, the thing is that was always going to happen as soon as we conceded the first because we were throwing everything at them. So you just get hit on the counter and they're there. So it was always going to happen. But yeah, I mean, it's just fucking Maguire. Like, if he'd have fucked off, that's 30 million. We can bring somebody else in.
You could have got someone like Timber. He only cost Arsenal 36 million. So
I mean, yeah, it's just
I know he's injured now, but he's still a promising
just-
centre back.
typical United. Just yeah.
Another absolutely magical day for Arsenal at the Emirates, though. A game that was very much in the balance, and they've come leaps and bounds from the first half, really. In the last 15 minutes, they've absolutely blitzed Man United. And
Went for it.
yeah, I mean, fantastic team. I think it's been the energy difference as well. Arsenal have constantly just been pressing and trying the hardest
they
to
look
do
fit,
well.
don't they? They do.
That's it.
That's it. It's full time. 3-1. Arsenal picking up the victory. Oh, is it? No.
Huh?
No? Oh,
Well, did
Thought it was
did the
full-time.
camera change?
Yeah,
then?
yeah. The camera did change as if it was full time. There can't be much longer left, to be fair. We just got a comment on the Instagram. The capacity of gringos to produce the worst football opinion you've ever heard in your entire life. I am that gringo.
What's all that on?
The Pele one, of
Oh my
course.
God. People are weird, man.
No, it's actually full time.
Yep, 3-1.
3-1 to Arsenal. It's like the opposite of Josh's prediction, but
Well, close, mate. Just wrong way around.
Josh, how do you feel after that one?
I just want to cry.
It's a tough one against Arsenal as well, isn't it?
It's do you know what the worst thing about it is that Garnacho goal. If that had stood, then
You'd have probably won. Arsenal were close with a penalty as well, though. I mean, we all said it could have stood. I know that it got overturned, and I'm not particularly offended by that either. I think either way it works, but
Oh, well. One of them ones, big turning point, that decision, just not offside. I mean, it was, but it's just fine margins, isn't it? And it's weird how just one tiny thing like being a whisker off can completely change the complexion of the game.
yeah, a massive win for Arsenal, though. A really big win. Obviously, they drew with Fulham last week, but this means 4 games undefeated for them. 3 wins in 4, is it?
This was a big win for Arsenal. I think if they'd have dropped points here, I think it would have set them back a little bit. But I think they'll go on strength to strength after this one, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And I
Big
think
win.
in terms of winning against the bigger teams as well,
Yeah.
this should give them so much confidence now whenever they're playing anyone. And I know that the last goal was more because Man United were pressing,
Going out, yeah.
but I think the 3-1 scoreline for the Arsenal dressing room will have a big impact. It should really make them feel better about the game as a whole.
Mm.
But yeah, Josh, final words before we end it.
fuck this.
Well, boys, it's been another stream. We'll be back.
Lovely.
I think the next one we're about doing is Arsenal-Everton. I think it was, because there's not any particularly massive
It's
games.
international break now, isn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, we'll also probably be doing some for like Champions League, Europa League when that kicks off as well, which will be really fun. But anyone that's here, thanks for watching. Anyone that's not, dickhead. Peace.
Adios.
Just unplug my laptop and pass me out.
I'm bursting for a while, you know.
Boys, another good one. Not for you, Josh.
Fucking